past shortstop Hubie Brooks. The Expos' 1-0 lead was soon erased after that missed double play. Pinch runner Tony Walker scored on a ground out to tie the game before Astros center fielder Ty Gainey singled for his first game-winning RBI. Denny Walling's 2-run home run made it 4-1 Houston. On the plus side for the Expos, Tim Raines continues to be among the National League leaders in several offensive categories, including a .336 batting average, third best behind Chris Brown and Tony Gwynn. Gold Glove third baseman Tim Wallach is headed for a banner season. If Wallach doubles his 14 homers and 49 RBIs over the second half of the year, he'll have his best season ever. And pitcher Floyd Yeomans. He's bounced back after a shaky start. The fireballing right-hander had a dismal 7.25 ERA after his first 4 starts through early May. Yeomans will be bidding for win number 9 tonight at Olympic Stadium, where Hal Linear's first-place Astros try for a 3-game sweep of Buck Rogers' second-place Expos. Hi again, everybody. I'm Dave Van Horn along with Duke Snyder. Well, for the Expos, they just finished a 2-week road trip, and they did it in spectacular fashion, taking 3 out of 4 from the Atlanta Braves over this past weekend, scoring 35 runs in Atlanta. But then the team went flat. They got blown out of a game here Monday night. Jay Tibbs pitched well last night, but the Expos couldn't hold on. The Astros won it. However, they've gotten a break. The Cincinnati Reds have been beating the New York Mets. A change on the ball club. In the bullpen, Randy St. Clair, right-hander who features a forkball. Left-handed starter Joe Hesketh is on the disabled list. He's got an upper back and a shoulder problem, and there'll be more news on that in the next couple of days. Buck Rogers has made some lineup changes for tonight's game. Floyd Yeomans against left-hander Bob Knepper. Duke Snyder is going to visit with the Expos manager. Let's go down to the field.
Well, Buck, half a season has gone by after tonight's game, and I know there are a lot of pluses and minuses for you, but I think the pluses take over.
Well, I think so. I think that Floyd Yeoman has been a tremendous plus for this ball club and its pitching staff. I think that Mike Fitzgerald back at the plate has been a tremendous plus. He's come back from a knee operation and has just been super, almost all-star credentials back to the plate. Hubie Brooks and Tim Wallach have just put together a tremendous first half. Even though Hubie has had the bad thumb the last month almost and not swinging the bat as well as he could, he still put good numbers on the board.
Gosh, just what would Hubie Brooks have if he hadn't hurt his finger and then his thumb? Because he'd have at least 65 RBIs.
Well, the way he was swinging the bat earlier in the season, boy, I don't know. He might have 20 home runs by now, but he's fighting it and he's battling and he's that type of player.
A couple of guys we could mention. Tim Raines got a chance to lead the league in hitting.
Well, Timmy's having another Tim Raines type year. He's getting the recognition that he deserves. He's stealing bases. He's getting big hits. And even in the third spot, when we put him down in number 3, he got big RBI hits for us. So he's having another tremendous year.
Well, he doesn't hit all that many home runs. He could, but he knows his role, and he plays it well.
That's right. He goes for the base on balls when he's leading off, and he swings a little more at the first pitch when he's in there to drive runs in.
You've manipulated quite a bit with some of your outfielders, Webster and Wright, 2 in particular. You've also put Newman at second base at times and Krenchicki at first, and they've all worked out well.
Well, Vance Law he struggled through this first half, and we're hoping to get a good offensive second half from Vance. We're playing him tonight, next few games, to see if we can get him started. Newman's been a pleasant surprise as a replacement. Galarraga, we're just about on the money where we expect him to be, around 250 with 7 or 8 home runs. But we're trying to play him a little more against left-handers, a little less against right-handers as we go through. And Krenchicki has done a good job.
We've all been waiting for a Met losing streak. They've lost 3 in a row to the Cincinnati Reds, and by golly, a big win tonight would really help.
Well, we got to make a little bit of hay now. They're starting to lose. Maybe we can close that gap.
Okay, Buck, good luck.
Thank you.
Expo Baseball on CBC returns after this.
Do you know what goes on inside your car's engine? Every kilometer can leave harmful deposits in the carburetor or on fuel injectors, on the intake manifold, on the intake ports and valves. Deposits that can rob you of engine performance. Now there's light at the end of the tunnel for Canadian motorists. A better gasoline that cleans, protects, and performs. The new one, super unleaded, only from Petro-Canada.
The home plate meeting taking place, and Dana DeMuth on the left of your screen has the plate tonight to call the balls and strikes. Terry Tate is at first base. Jerry Crawford at second base. Charlie Williams at third base. This is Harry Wendelstadt's crew. Harry is on vacation, and DeMuth has joined the crew to fill in. And the Expos take the field. Floyd Yeoman's on the mound tonight. Let's check out the Houston Astros lineup for this ball game. It is the same lineup that went up against Jay Tibbs last night. Bill Doran leading off and playing second. Ty Gainey in center field hitting second. Denny Walling, the third baseman, bats third. Glenn Davis having a terrific year hitting cleanup, the first baseman. Right fielder Kevin Bass hits fifth. Jose Cruz, the left fielder, sixth. Craig Reynolds batting seventh. He's the shortstop. John Mizrock doing the catching. And Bob Nepper on the mound pitching and hitting in the ninth spot. And here's Floyd Yeomans.
Floyd Yeomans, as we've mentioned, doing an outstanding job now. He's 8-5. His ERA coming down at 4.42. Throws a fastball, slider, and a changeup. Those are his three pitches. They have still taken the curveball away from him. They don't want him to throw it because he's gotten such good rhythm with his other three pitches. Control still a bit of a problem. He's walked 64 in 97 2/3 innings. He's only given up 77 hits and struck out 80. Yeoman's trying to win his 9th game of the year for the Expos tonight, and they need the win. As we mentioned earlier, the Mets lost their 3rd straight to the Cincinnati Reds.
So far this season, the Expos are 3-5 against the Houston Astros. The Astros have won the last 4 games, going back to May 31st at Houston, when they took a series 2 out of 3, winning games 2 and 3. Then they came in here and won on Monday night and again last night. So the Astros have a 4-game winning streak against the Expos. So Floyd Yeomans has his work cut out for him tonight. And I would think if Floyd is on his game, so do the Astros. Very quickly this afternoon, San Francisco lost. So Houston by themselves in first place in the National League West, a half game ahead of the Giants, who lost to the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs beat San Francisco 4-3. And by the way, in this afternoon's game at Candlestick Park, the Chicago Cubs made a triple play in the 5th inning. So a baseball rarity, the triple play. Prior to the ball game, Expos third baseman Tim Wallach and center and right fielder Andre Dawson received their Gold Glove awards from the Rawlings Sporting Goods Company. We're set to go. Bill Doran, the 28-year-old second baseman. One of the reasons why the Astros have done so well is that Doran, their second baseman, is really progressing now as a big league ball player in his 4th year in the National League. Checks in tonight at 269.
Well, this young man can do just about everything. He's a great double play man, good defensive second baseman. He has some speed. He's stolen 28 times. A good leadoff man.
Yeoman's hitting that outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike to Bill Doran. 22-year-old Floyd Yeomans stands 6 foot 190. 2 strikes on Doran.
That looked like the changeup, and it really fooled Doran. We'll watch it here.
It's been a good pitch for Floyd. Low and in. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Anytime you can throw over 90 miles an hour and then have a changeup like that, why, you're going to fool hitters.
Yeoman's 2-2, and that's all for Doran. Struck him out. Floyd Yeomans now has 81 strikeouts in 98 innings.
We'll see the fastball away. Floyd pitching from the first base side of the mound and makes that ball run away a little bit. And Doran didn't have a chance.
1 gone and Ty Gainey up. 25-year-old outfielder playing in his 9th game since being called up from their AAA club. He's done a good job with the bat, hitting at .391. 9 hits and 23 at-bats as he looks at a strike. Got some news today. The Padres have announced 2 trades. San Diego sent right-handed pitcher Tim Stoddard to the New York Yankees for Ed Whitson. So George Steinbrenner got his wish, I guess. He was able to make a trade involving Whitson.
I think it's a good deal for the Padres because we have seen Stoddard, and he really wasn't burning the National League up, and Whitson getting back into the National League might be a break for him.
Here's the 2-strike pitch to Gainey, and that was no contest. Strikeout number 2 for Floyd Yeomans.
Now we'll watch this one. That pitch really breaking down. Off-speed pitch way out in front, Ty Gainey. He tried to hold up his swing, sizing it up as a ball, but couldn't.
A couple of young hitters, Doran and especially Gainey. Now we'll see how the veteran left-handed batter, Denny Walling, fares against Floyd Yeomans. 2 outs, none on in the first inning. Walling with some pretty good numbers, hit a 2-run home run here last night in the 8th inning to put icing on the cake for the Astros. 1 strike on Walling.
I think Walling proved that he was a pretty good fastball hitter. He hit one off Jeff Reardon, and Reardon said he was throwing hard last night, and Walling parked it right over the right field fence.
Ball 1, 1-1. The other part of that San Diego trade, by the way, they've traded left-handed pitcher Mark Thurman to the Detroit Tigers for Dave LaPointe. So LaPointe comes back to the National League. That's out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Walling.
Well, the Padres in position to make a move. They're right in the middle of the pack, and adding some pitching strength to the ball club. I still think LaPointe can pitch. He took some weight off. There's no reason why he shouldn't. He's a left-hander besides. Why he shouldn't be able to win some games in the National League.
Floyd didn't miss by much. 2-2 the count. Two balls and 2 strikes, the count on Walling. Walling, who platoons at third base along with Phil Garner, and Hal Lanier also platoons at shortstop, using both Craig Reynolds, a left-handed batter, and Dickie Thon, the right-handed batter. That's all for Denny Walling. Floyd Yeomans has struck out the side to open the ball game. The Astros go 1-2-3, and after a half inning of play, no score here. The game coming to you from Olympic Stadium in Montreal. You're watching Expos Baseball on CBC.
There's heart in this land. It's there in all we do. That's why hands across the country reach for the blue. And when we get together, it's a taste that's clean and true. So when you call, then you call for the blue. You know it's gotta be blue. That's why you call for the blue. That's why you call for your blue. It's time to call for the blue.
This program is authorized under television rights granted by the Montreal Baseball Club Limited solely for the entertainment of our audience. And any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Montreal Baseball Club Limited is prohibited. You're looking at Bob Knepper. We'll take a look at the Expos lineup for tonight's game. Tim Raines leading off and playing in left. Vance Law, the second baseman, hitting number 2. Andre Dawson in right field, batting third. The cleanup hitter is shortstop Hubie Brooks. Tim Wallach batting 5th and playing at 3rd. Mitch Webster hitting behind Wallach in the 6th spot, playing in center. Andres Galarraga moves to the number 7 position. He's the first baseman. Mike Fitzgerald catching the ball game, hitting 8th. And Floyd Yeomans, the pitcher, bats 9th. So the key changes are Law into the number 2 spot in the order, and Buck moving Webster behind Wallach, hoping that this will help Wallach get some more good pitches, and dropping Galarraga down in the order, where he has slumped of late, and Buck feeling that maybe this will take a little bit of the pressure off Galarraga by hitting him 7th. We'll see how this new look lineup fares for Rogers and the Expos against Bob Knepper.
Well, Bob 10-6 this year. He's been having a little bit of a problem here lately, but he's a quality type pitcher, not overpowering as Yeoman has been tonight or Nolan Ryan last night, but Mike Scott the night before. But he's the type of guy that mixes the ball up, changes speeds, curveball. He'll turn the changeup over, make sort of a screwball out of it, and sneak the sinking, moving type fastball in there once in a while. So he relies on control and getting the hitters off stride. Knepper, of course, has struck out 78 and walked just 32 in 141 2/3 innings.
Tim Raines will lead it off. Tim has a 14-game batting streak. Earlier this season, he had a 17-game batting streak, the longest of his career. Number 3 in the league, hitting at .336. Knepper goes to work with his first pitch of the night. Ball 1 to Raines as we see Bob Knepper, born in Akron, Ohio, grew up in Oregon, makes his home there now. Drafted by the Giants. A play for Reynolds, and Raines is out by an eyelash.
A nice, easy delivery by Knepper. Nothing deceptive about him except that he does change speeds, as I mentioned, and you see a lot of ground balls when he is on. When he's got his stuff, why, the infielders really have to be alert.
Vance Law batting at .210. And that's what Buck Rogers means or alludes to when he says we've got to get Vance Law going. Buck is still sold on this club being a better second half team than it's been in the first half. But, of course, one of the keys is to get the bat of Vance Law in high gear. This is Reynolds again, and Law is out. 2 outs. Craig Reynolds, a veteran shortstop, but still with some pretty good range.
Now, that ball looked like it had center field written all over it, but Reynolds gets that big glove out just in time to make the play and turns it into a routine out. Vance trying to pull that ball, but hit it hard enough for some shortstops, but not for Reynolds.
Craig Reynolds with the fielding play, 2 outs. Andre Dawson moving in. Hawk hitting at .273. Earlier this year, he hit 2 home runs in 1 game against Bob Knepper. Ball 1 to Dawson, who now has 13 home runs and 29 RBIs. Been off the disabled list just over a week now. 1-1 on Dawson. When we first saw Bob Knepper, he pitched for the San Francisco Giants.
Well, Andre trying to pull that pitch, and he was out front. That's changing speeds, as we mentioned.
2 balls and a strike. Knepper falling behind. Knepper signed by the Giants in June of 1972. First pitched in the big leagues in 1976 with San Francisco. Was traded by the Giants in 1980 to Houston.
And Andre trying to get his timing back. When he came back off the disabled list, he was hitting .298. He's dropped 25 points trying to get that timing back. He's shown signs of coming out of it, but he faced a couple of tough pitchers in the last couple of nights, and nobody hit him very well.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Now a full count to Andre Dawson. John Mizrock behind the plate for the Astros. Alan Ashby also does some catching, but of late Mizrock has carried the load. They had another young catcher, Mark Bailey, who got sent out just a short while ago. Bailey was slumping with the bat and behind the plate, so they sent him to Tucson, and Mizrock's got another chance to play a lot with the Astros. Dawson hits 1 a ton to left field. No doubt about it. It's up and away, and a home run for Andre Dawson, number 14 for the Hawks.
Well, the left fielder Cruz did not move on the ball as soon as it was hit. Why, it was over his head just moments later, and he just stood there and watched to see how far it was going to go.
The home run ball from Andre Dawson, putting the Expos on the scoreboard 1-0 here in the first.
Watch the Hawk get that top hand and throw the big end of the bat right into the ball. There it is.
Wow.
Pitch away a little bit so he is able to extend, get that bat out there and get those arms working. See, Cruz didn't move.
Hubie Brooks takes ball one. It was on the 1st of June when Andre Dawson hit 2 home runs off Bob Nepper in the same game down at the Astrodome. Now he connects here at Olympic Stadium. 2 balls, no strikes to Hubie, who has the 4th best batting average in the league at .327. Brooks lacing that ball to the right field alley, and over to cut it is Bass, and that'll hold Brooks. Good play by Bass.
And Hubie hitting Nepper the way you have to hit him. The pitch out away, he went with it to right center. Hubie had second in mind all the way until he saw Bass come up with the ball and making a good throw. We'll see it here. Pitch out away, a little sinking type fastball. Watch the good play that Bass makes. And then he throws a strike to second base.
Tim Wallach takes a strike. Wallach hitting at .280. So Dawson, Brooks, and Wallach now are all tied for the club home run lead. They've all hit 14. Hubie leads in RBIs with 50. Wallach's next with 49. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Dawson missed about 3 weeks of the season with a torn hamstring.
One pitch to Wallach low. Glenn Davis holding Brooks at first base. Wallach hits a shot, and Bass is there. Boy, Wallach slammed his batting helmet down, and he'll need a new one for his next turn at bat. Wallach out on a hard liner to right center. 1 run on the Dawson home run. Brooks is left after 1. The Expos lead 1-0.
Come and treat yourself to a nouvelle cuisine in an intimate and friendly atmosphere. Special cocktails, attractively arranged dishes, partnered with flavorful wines to delight your palate. A delectable dinner topped off by a fine liqueur. Le Faubourg, a restaurant designed for discriminating gourmets. Le Faubourg, upstairs from the Café Saint-Honoré, the last word in fine dining, 570 Grand Delay East.
There are many ways to see your world, but one source views it from a different angle. One program answers the questions of the moment, reaches the people of the hour, probes beyond the headlines to what really matters. At the end of the day, when you want to know what's happening to your world, one program brings it into focus. There is only one journal.
Expos first baseman Andres Galarraga mentioned that Buck Rogers moved him down in the order to try to help him there. One thing that really hasn't suffered at all has been his play around the bag at first. He's been an outstanding fielder at first base. Glenn Davis, Kevin Bass, and Jose Cruz up here for the Astros. Floyd Yeoman struck out the side in the first inning. His strikeout high in one game this year is 11. 1 strike on Davis. Davis batting at .270, number 1 in the National League in home runs with 19. He is 4th in RBIs with 55. This is just his 2nd year in the league. 2 strikes on Davis.
Floyd's liable to get a season high tonight before the 6th inning the way he's throwing. Wow.
I'll tell you, he is getting it up to home plate. On June 13th, he struck out 11 Phillies. Look out, Astros, if he keeps this up. A ball and 2 strikes to Davis. Davis hits a hard line drive. Raines is in. 1 away. Raines motioning. His first move was to go back. That hard, screaming line drive right at him. But then he came in quickly and made the play. Kevin Bass hitting at .310. Liner right to Brooks. Well, Davis and Bass made contact. 2 outs in the 2nd.
One of these games or one of these years, we're going to see Floyd Yeomans fire up a no-hitter. This young man has outstanding stuff.
I think so, and I had mentioned, I believe on one of our telecasts, that I think he is also going to have one of those big strikeout nights. Really big, up there with the big boys like Carlton and Seaver and Clemens. Play by Galarraga was outstanding. The throw pulled him off. The big guy stretched out right on his belly, but kept his foot on the base to get Cruz. Nothing across here for the Astros because of this play.
Well, Hubie thinks he has to hurry. He doesn't.
And after
watch Andres. Catches the ball, then falls.
After an inning and a half, 1-0 Expos.
A man can feel a shower coming on. He can feel the rain and hear it sung. A man can feel a shower coming down. Then he's got springtime all year round. Feeling fresh, feeling clean, feeling strong. Feel the power of an Irish Spring shower.
At the start of the season, I predicted Tim Raines would lead the league in hitting. Well, you're right there, Tim.
Yeah, well, yes, I am. I've fell into a groove right now. I'm starting to swing the bat well on both sides, and if I could do that, I think the number one reason for me swinging as well as I am is swinging the bat well right-handed. And last year, I got off to a slow start right-handed, which hampered me. But as the season went on, I got better. But right now, I'm swinging the bat well right-handed, and it's helping me swing the bat just as well, I think.
So many base hits in the first inning, and I hit third in the batting order when I played, and I found the first at bat sometimes the toughest one, but it doesn't seem that way for you.
Well, not really. I guess leading off, you know, the pitchers don't want to walk me, and usually I pretty much get pretty good pitches to swing the bat. And right now I feel real comfortable at the plate, and I'm getting the good pitches, and I'm getting the good swings on the balls and hitting it hard. And I think, you know, that's all I really want to do is go up to the plate and hit the ball hard and hope that I can hit it where nobody is.
Is 100 stolen bases out of sight?
I don't think so. Right now I feel that as long as I can swing.
Mitch Webster is out, 4-3. 1 gone in the bottom of the 2nd. That'll bring Andres Galarraga to the plate.
Mitch trying to go to right field with a pitch inside, and hits a little slicing liner towards Doran, but he kept the ball in front of him and made a good play. First baseman cheated a little bit, but he was on the bag just long enough.
Galarraga now 249, 8 home runs, 26 RBIs. Doran throws him out at first base. 2 away. The Expos up 1-0 on Andre Dawson's first inning home run. And the batter will be Mike Fitzgerald, the Expos catcher.
We had to cut the Raines interview just a bit short on that 100 stolen base season. Why, he said that he thought he could do it, and usually he steals a lot more in the second half than he does the first half. So Tim thinks he can do it. I'm pretty sure it'll be done.
Mike Fitzgerald with a .294 batting average. He's got a career-high 35 RBIs. In his last 84 at-bats, Fitz is hitting .369. He's already established a career high with a half a dozen home runs. Ball and a strike to Mike Fitzgerald. Up in the air for the first baseman, Glenn Davis. He's called for it. Nepper has a 3-up, 3-down inning. Nothing across in the second for the Expos. So after 2 at Olympic Stadium in Montreal, the Expos lead Houston 1-0.
And he said, "Breaker 1-9. Is anyone there? Come on back, truckers, and talk to Teddy Bear."
Now 20 of Red Sylvain's greatest hits are available in a very special 2-record collector's album. Just listen.
Big Joe's the name. I told him mine. And he said the name of my rig is Phantom 309. In his hand, he held a big red rose. And tears were streaming down his cheeks. And Buddy, he took to that truck like he was born there. Well, I named him Little Joe. He wasn't old enough to say too many words. He just kept a-hollering, "Giddy up, go, Daddy. Giddy up, go."
Red Sylvain's greatest hits. 20 classics on 2 stereo records, 8-track or cassette tape.
For COD, Visa, MasterCard, or American Express orders, call 418-648-9835 or save COD charges by sending $12.95 for album, 8-track or cassette, plus $2 postage and handling to Red Sylvain, P.O. Box 9423, St. Foy, Quebec, G1V 4B8.
Stadium today, the Cincinnati Reds made it a clean sweep over the New York Mets, beat them 11-1. Tom Browning won his 7th game to beat Dwight Gooden. And guess who hit a home run off Dwight Gooden? Sal Butera.
Former Expo catcher.
Cubs over the Giants 4-3. And turning to the American League, these finals in from today's games. Cleveland beat Chicago 6-3. Bill Negro, the winner, his 306th career victory. Detroit beat Minnesota 7-0 on a 6-hit shutout by Jack Morris, his 8th win. And California over Milwaukee 6-1. Don Sutton won his 8th game of the year. Top of the third here. Bottom third of the Expos batting order. Tim Wallach at third base, playing just inside of the bag with Reynolds, a left-handed batter, up there. Galarraga with the play. That's all for Reynolds. So now Floyd Yeomans has faced 7 batters. He's retired 7. John Mizrock, the catcher, coming up.
Astros so far hitting like they've got a plane to catch, or they're double parked. Floyd throwing strikes, and boy, that's good to see, because his lack of control at times is really the big flaw in his pitching, but he's sure overcome that so far tonight.
Mizrock takes low, ball 1. But the Cubs making a triple play today. 5th inning against the Giants. Tell you how it happened here as we watch Mizrock bat. In the bottom of the 5th, the Giants' Mike Aldrete lined to pitcher Ed Lynch, who threw to third baseman Davey Lopes to double up Chili Davis. Lopes then threw to Terry Francona, the first baseman, to get Chris Brown. So the old line drive to start the triple play.
It's good to hear Terry Francona involved in that and getting a chance to play.
Right, he hadn't been playing much for the Cubs. 2-1 pitch. It's fouled off.
So Mizrock is sitting on the fastball. If Floyd gives him An off-speed pitch, that changeup, I think he would spin him right out of his shoes. He tried. It was too low.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Pitcher Bob Nepper is on deck. Again, Mizrock with a pretty good cut, but he fouled it back. 3-2.
It's the best swings we've seen Mizrock have in the series. Of course, he knows that most of the time he's going to get the heat, and he's sitting on it.
Full count on Mizrock as we look right into Mike Fitzgerald. He keeps getting a piece of it.
Thing about fastball pitchers, and Yeoman's included, Nolan Ryan, a good example. Last night, Nolan struck out a lot of batters early in the game, 8 and 4 innings, and then he calmed down and didn't get too many after that. But they get tired, and their fastball starts to straighten out a little bit.
Mizrock takes strike 3.
At least you hope they get tired as a hitter. Well, that was a fastball, and Mizrock didn't like the location and took it.
Bob Nepper coming up now against his mound opponent, Floyd Yeomans. Nepper,
a pretty good fastball hitter. He hit quite a few in batting practice out of the park. Has 5 lifetime home runs and 48 lifetime RBIs, but that was in BP that he was hitting the ball tonight. Let's see how he fares against Floyd.
One ball and 1 strike. Two and 1 to Nepper.
See what they'll do. Leadoff man Doran probably came back to the bench and said, boys, be ready. He's bringing it. And that fastball is really established right then on the ball club.
Yeomans with a 2-1. 2 strikes on Nepper. Two pitch. Wow, that was close. It's the thing, you mentioned Floyd is throwing strikes, and when he has missed, he hasn't missed by much, has he?
Sure hasn't. It's the best I've seen him look all year.
Nepper just got a piece of it, fouled it back.
Even as one hitter, he wasn't bringing it like he's bringing it tonight as far as consistency is concerned. And in the strike zone.
Right. Floyd pitched a 1-hit shutout against the Phillies on the 8th of June.
He walked something like 8 in that game.
Nepper hits a fly ball, sending Raines back in left. 9 have gone to the plate, and 9 have been cast aside by Floyd Yeomans. And at the end of 2.5 innings in Montreal, the Expos lead on Dawson's home run, 1-0.
British Columbia, Vancouver, and Expo 86, a spectacular national celebration where Canada will host the world. 5.5 months of entertainment, culture, and friendly people. Come to the province you've never seen.
Come on out!
Come to a world so spectacular.
Join us!
3-day tickets and information at the Royal Bank.
That's Ken Maka, Expos coach, down behind home plate. Ken, can you hear us up here?
I can't, Dave.
You can't, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, you can. All right.
I can, yeah.
All right, that's good. I'll tell you what we've heard most of so far tonight. The pounding of Mike Fitzgerald's mitt. How fast is Floyd throwing?
Well, he's thrown 27 fastballs, and only 2 of them have been under 90, and they were both to Nepper. So when the pitcher got up there, he took a little bit off. So he's been throwing pretty hard. He's averaged, I'd say, 91 average, and he's had 294.
And he's been right around the plate with everything.
Yeah, pretty much so. He's pitched some other games where he got a little wild with his fastball, and Fitzgerald's mixed in the slider, and he's thrown that slider for a strike, but tonight he's getting that fastball over. In the first inning, they were taken, and that didn't work out too well. He struck out the side.
All right, we'll check with you a little later, Ken. Thanks a lot.
Okay, Dave.
Expos coach Ken Maku charts all of the games from down there behind the plate. He's got the speed gun on both pitchers, so next time around we'll also ask about Nepper, and we'll recheck a couple of innings from now and see how Floyd is doing. We're going to find out all about Floyd Yeomans as a hitter because he'll lead off the bottom of the third for the Expos. Then we'll go to Raines and Lawn. The Expos lead here 1-0 on Andre Dawson's first inning home run.
I would wonder if they'd be clocking Nepper because Nepper is not a clock type pitcher. At best, he's going to be in the middle 80s to low 80s because he's not overpowering, as we mentioned. But it's what you look for when you go up there to hit against a guy like Nepper. If you're looking for the breaking ball, that makes the fastball a little bit quicker when he throws it. So you're not guessing against Nepper. You just say, throw the ball, and I'm going to hit it somewhere.
But, too, that's one of the interesting things about a pitcher like Bob Necker. You might find out that he's highly effective with an 87-mile-an-hour fastball.
Well, that's for sure, or less.
Or less, 85.
We're going to see a guy tomorrow night, Chris Welsh, who doesn't throw that hard, former Expo, who pitched for the Reds, and they do it with finesse more than anything else, and know-how.
Floyd Yeomans up here. He's got 6 hits and 35 at-bats, including a home run earlier this year off the Philadelphia Phillies' Mike Maddox. Two strikes on Floyd.
Floyd looks for the fastball, and when he gets it, why, he can hammer a little bit.
A ball and 2 strikes. We have had just great weather for this Houston series. Last week, while the Expos were on the road, actually they were on the road for 2 weeks. The weather in Montreal was miserable. It's been great the last 3 nights. There's a base hit for Floyd Yeomans through the left side, just past Walling, just past Reynolds.
He make a mistake on Floyd, and he can get a base hit. He's gotten several off Dwight Gooden this year. That one had eyes. It missed 2 pieces of leather going into left field.
Yeomans gets into the warm-up jacket at first base. Tim Raines, the batter. Bounced out to the shortstop Reynolds in the first inning.
It's like a cold night for Floyd. He's a Florida boy. Lives some in California, too.
Very pleasant night, but it is windy. The wind has been gusting around inside the stadium. Ball 1 to Raines. Timmy talking with Duke and discussing his switch hitting. Raines batting .311 right-handed, .349 left-handed. And he's popped this up. Reynolds goes back. The shortstop gloves it. Raines is out. And Vance Law will come to the plate. Reynolds made a good play to take a hit away from Vance Law in the first inning. Vance checking in now with a .209 batting average. His major league lifetime is .254. So he's really having an off year. Batted .266 with the Expos in 1985. So here in his second year, he's fallen off.
When you go into those slumps, hitting slumps, why, it becomes mental after a while, and you start changing an awful lot of things. Instead of just changing your thinking and getting in a groove to where you're just going to look for the ball and trying to hit it hard somewhere, you try to get too smart.
Buck Rogers was saying he feels it's so important for Vance himself to wind up this last weekend prior to the All-Star break swinging a good bat and have a pretty positive frame of mind heading into the second half. He said it's tough on all players if they spend those 3 days off at the All-Star break knowing they've had a bad first half.
Well, no matter what Vance does the rest of this week, he's going to have a bad first half. But if he finishes on a strong note, as you mentioned, Dave, why,
right,
it will help him when he comes back next week.
A drive toward left center, and Gainey's there, and he's got it. Ball lines out to the center fielder, 2 down, and Andre Dawson will bat. Dawson with the first inning home run to put the Expos on the board.
Well, I think we'll see Andre have some good swings. No question about that. He likes to hit against Nepper, hitting 3 home runs this year off of it.
One strike on Dawson. Club's all-time home run leader with 218. He's 4 RBIs away from tying Gary Carter. Gary had 794 Expos RBIs. The all-time leader, and Hawk will soon take over in that category. That's a foul ball. Yeomans ran it out. Floyd will come back to first. Hawk to the plate. Three afternoon games. The Braves beat the Phillies. We showed you the scores with Cincinnati over New York and Chicago beating San Francisco. Braves also won their game, beat the Phils. John Felski had a chance to go over 500 for the first time since he took over as the manager of the Phillies.
He'll get the blame.
Ball club was barely able to stay at 500 for 24 hours. They didn't make it for 24 hours. They've fallen 1 game under with that loss today. Philadelphia Press has made a big thing of that Felski can't play over 500. I guess when they look out on the field and look at those 9 players, they see John Felski.
Looks that way. John certainly doesn't swing the bat or pitch for the club.
Ouch, that hit Dawson. You could tell by the camera, Mizrock sliding inside to get the ball, and it skimmed off Hawk. So he jogs on down to first base, hit by a pitch.
Well, that ball at your feet sometimes a little tough to get out of the way when you plant that front foot like Andre does when he hits. Every hitter does that, and he got nicked a little bit. He's okay.
Dawson nicked on the left shin. Goes to first base. Yeomans to second. 2 outs. Hubie Brooks is the batter.
And a pretty good story on the winning pitcher for Atlanta today. Former Blue Jay.
Doyle Alexander winning for the Atlanta Braves. Line drive, base hit to left. Here comes Yeomans. He's been waved. He's going to score. Dawson goes to third. The throw will go to second to keep Brooks at first base.
Well, Hubie got a broken bat base hit that went right between the infielders. And Hubie gets his 51st RBI. We'll see it here. Little slider inside. Hubie breaks his bat, but gets enough of the ball to get it by Craig Reynolds.
And the Expos lead 2-0.
Yeomans really takes off. Scores easily.
Tim Wallach is the batter. Wallach lined out to the right fielder Kevin Bass in the first inning. Skies one here. Can Mizrock find it? Yes, he found it over near the Expos on deck circle, and Wallach is out. So runners are left at first and third, but the Expos score a run on 2 hits in the inning, and now at the end of 3, they're ahead of Houston 2-0.
CKMI TV5, in collaboration with the Quebec Metropolitan Board of Trade and Industry, proudly presents Les Armoires Modernes, makers of kitchen cabinet units adaptable to all types of construction. They've recently introduced their Kit to Line, which is quick to assemble and easy to install. Every week in their Vanier workshops, Les Armoires Modernes creates, designs, makes, assembles, and ships over 100 kitchen cabinet systems to general contractors and individual clients. All involved are justly proud of the high standards of durability, the wide range of sizes and designs, together with the adaptability of the systems which have enabled Les Armoires Modernes to multiply its sales outlets. Today, throughout eastern Quebec and the Maritimes, Les Armoires Modernes has an ever-increasing number of exclusive dealers operating under the name of Armoire Satellite. At Les Armoires Modernes, an ongoing dynamic approach and individual ambition team up as winners. Another successful venture, profiled right here on CKMI 5.
Well, that's the way things look in the National League East as a result of this afternoon's games. The Mets with an 11-game lead, then the Phils 15.5 out. Chicago 21, they moved up ahead of St. Louis. And then Pittsburgh. The Cardinals and Pittsburgh are out west later tonight. Houston leading the Giants as a result of the San Francisco loss to the Cubs today. San Diego staying close, and of course they made the two deals we talked about. Atlanta, Los Angeles, down there in the basement. Things not going at all well for the Dodgers, and if you look at the box scores these days, you hardly recognize the names. Here's the American League East with the Red Sox comfortably out in front, 8 games ahead of the New York Yankees. Cleveland won today. They stay close along with the Orioles. And in the American League West, it's Gene Mock's California Angels half game ahead of Bobby Valentine's Texas Rangers. Then it falls off. Chicago 6.5 out. Kansas City Royals have lost 11 straight, club record. The defending world champions. Doran's up. He struck out in the first inning. Ball 1 to the Houston second baseman. The Expos lead here 2-0 as we begin the 4th inning. Floyd Yeomans gets the strike in there. Floyd has won his last 4, 8 of his last 10 decisions.
Pretty good fastball and location.
One and 2 on Doran.
Got the hitters talking to themselves. You got a guy throwing that hard out there and that consistent with it. You talk to yourself a lot. You got to get ready.
Doran, and a tough chance here into no man's land.
Well, that broke up the perfect game.
First hit of the game for the Astros, a bloop out into right center by Bill Doran.
That ball had a lot of hang time. I thought maybe Mitch might catch it, but Mitch was playing way over in left center and had a long way to go for it.
Ty Gainey struck out in the first. Runner Doran is on the move. Got in at second base. His 29th steal.
Floyd has a rather high leg kick, and as a result, the base runners can get a good jump on him. He rushes the ball to home plate pretty fast. But Doran with that quick come-up slide, watch. Great acceleration, gets in there.
One and 1 to Gainey. A couple of players out of the June 1979 draft in this lineup for Houston tonight. Their number 1 pick was John Misrock, who's catching. Ty Gainey was their number 2 pick in 1979. And he's playing in center field for them tonight. Terry Poole's injured. Gainey punting one back to Yeomans. He looked at third, through to first. Doran breaking quickly.
Well, it didn't appear that Floyd gave that much of a shot at third. He had a play. If he wheels and throws, the catcher tries to let him know on a play like that. You'll see it. He looked and said, nope, I'm not going to chance it. Gets a sure out.
it looked like Mike Fitzgerald yelled third.
I would think so, because he had to play right in front of him, and if Floyd guns it to third base, he's got an out.
I'm not a great lip reader, but it just appeared that he was yelling third. Walling pops one up. Now let's see. Is Doran going to try to score on this?
I bet you
Here's the catch by Webster. Here comes a runner. Here comes a throw, and he is safe at the plate. Throw is not on line.
No, Mitch does not have a real strong throwing arm, and Raines doesn't either. But Raines is a little bit more accurate than Mitch, and that time they took advantage of the throwing arm of Webster's. Mitch catches the ball, puts everything on it he's got, but it wasn't enough. It was offline. That was a shallow fly ball.
2 outs, nobody on base, and Glenn Davis, their first baseman, is up. Davis hit 20 home runs last year, 19 already this year. Ball 1 to Davis, who takes one up under the chin. Hit 2 home runs here Monday night. 2 balls, no strikes to Davis. This is the latest into the season that an Astro has led the National League in home runs since the days of Jim Wynn. Now 3-0 on Davis. Jim Wynn led the league for the majority of the 1967 season. Set a club record with 37 home runs that year. Led the league until September 13th. So Davis has really put some numbers up there in the long ball department. 3-1 on Davis. Something the Astros have missed since the days of Lee May, Cesar Cedeno, and Doug Rader, and Jimmy Wynn, those home run hitters. Davis is on with a walk. The first base on balls issued by Floyd Yeomans. And it brings Kevin Bass to the plate. This note in from Toronto. Seattle playing the Blue Jays tonight. Mike Moore against Dave Steve. Boston. Oh, this is from Boston. I see. All right. Boston manager John McNamara has been ejected in the first inning at Fenway. Oakland against the Red Sox. Kurt Young against Jeff Sellers. And McNamara's been thrown out of the game for some reason. We didn't get any details on that. By the way, in the Seattle game, Toronto's ahead 1-0 after 1. Right here, 2-1 Expos. The Astros with a man on and Kevin Bass up. 2-0. Bass was hot in June, Duke, the National League Player of the Month, and he's carried it over into July.
Well, he certainly has, Dave, and he's the kind of guy, being a switch hitter, and he has good speed. Also hits the long ball. He hadn't driven in as many as he probably would have liked, but 16 doubles. He came up to the Astros from their minor league AAA club. We saw him about the time he joined the team, and he showed signs then of being a pretty good hitter.
Smacks a ball here into the air, though, and Webster is under it. He's got it for the 3rd out of the inning. 1 run on a hit by Bill Doran. A steal at second. Went to 3rd on that comebacker to the mound. That was a key play in the inning because then Walling hit the sacrifice fly. And the Astros are on the scoreboard. Expos lead 2-1. You're watching Expos baseball on CBC. Buck Rogers, whose team is 44-36. He had the club 10 games over the 500 mark a couple of days ago. That's before Hal Lanier brought the Houston Astros to town. Now tonight, the Expos trying to salvage a game out of this 3-game series. Here's Nepper to Mitch Webster. Strike 1 on Webster, who's batting at .271. Hitting in the number 6 spot.
And Nepper pitching out of turn a day early because Deshaies' mother passed away, and he had to leave the ball club. Nolan Ryan was moved up last night to 3 days rest. It did not show. He pitched very well. And Bob pitching his type of ball game. He's given up 2 runs, but you know, he could keep it maybe at 3 and keep his team in the game, and that's his job out there. Gives up more than 3. He's got a good chance of losing.
Nepper pitched on Saturday. Floyd Yeoman's last start was last Friday, 4th of July. Webster hit that ball hard and past the third baseman Walling down to the left field corner. Cruz plays it out of the corner, and Webster cruises into second base.
You know, although Bob Nepper is a classy pitcher, as we see this double down the left field line, the Expo hitters are breathing a sigh of relief tonight, facing Nepper after facing Scott and Ryan, who were really bringing it the last 2 nights. So it's comfortable up there tonight. He might get you out, but it's not the fight it was the last 2 nights.
Nepper out of the stretch, works to Galarraga with the runner on the move, and Galarraga bunts toward first. Nepper takes care of the play defensively as Webster goes on to third.
It's too bad Andres bunted that ball, because Mitch had third base stolen standing up. But Andres turned to bunt and bunted the ball very well, but it was a wasted at bat, really, because if he'd have sized up Webster's jump as the experienced hitters would have, they'd have taken the pitch. Go to first base, and the toe just got to the bag.
Mike Fitzgerald with a shot here to drive in a run. Fitzgerald swings and pops it up to the right side. Davis calls for it. First baseman's got it. So with the infield in, Mike Fitzgerald popped it up. 2 down, and Floyd Yeomans comes up, so that was a big out for Nepper.
Fitzgerald upset at popping that pitch up. He wanted the sacrifice fly. He takes it out on the bat.
Yeoman's waiting for his bat to be delivered by the bat boy. So Floyd might have broken his bat in the 3rd inning. As the bat boy appeared to come out of the clubhouse, there was a delay there a moment. And that's what they were waiting for, the delivery of Floyd's bat.
Well, Floyd has 5 RBIs this year, a home run, no extra base hits other than the home run. Batting average almost to 200 now, hitting 194.
Ball 1 to Floyd Yeomans. 2-1 Expos in the 4th inning. In center field, Ty Gainey back for this, and that's it for Floyd and the Expos. So the leadoff double by Mitch Webster goes by the boards here. No runs, a hit, and Webster was stranded at third base. At the end of 4 innings, the Expos lead Houston 2-1.
Looking for tips on outdoor cooking? Ask a 50 problem solver.
Hey, do you remember when we hooked up my bicycle to the barbecue to make the spit turn?
Boy, did we cycle for our supper, eh?
Sure did.
Hey, but whose idea was it to drill holes through the bone in the roast to put the spit in, huh?
You're also the one who promised fish for dinner. I see corn on the cob was biting today.
You'll never find a better bunch.
Beer's the one. You'll never find a better beer.
You got it.
At one time, one of the most feared hitters in the American League, Yogi Berra, but you look much better in that uniform to me, Yogi. Those pinstripes, we didn't like the pinstripes in Brooklyn too much.
Well, you know, my bubblegum card's worth more nowadays.
Yogi, you got a pretty good ball club over here, a little bit of power and a couple of pitchers that can throw the ball pretty hard.
Well, we think we have, Duke, we thought at spring training, you know, our pitcher was going to be the bad point. So far, it's been good to us. It has. I think we're leading the league in the earned run, you know, in the earned run department there, and they've done one heck of a job.
Well, what about you over there instructing these hitters how to hit? I was watching you at the cage over there, and no way you could teach anybody to hit like you did.
Well, that's tough. I always said, you see the ball hit it, Duke. That's what I always thought, and that was the way I hit. You know, I know you don't get many that way, you know. Sometimes, you know, that high ball, you know, it looks good to you, and you swing at it.
Yogi Berra talking with Duke Snyder before the ball game. Yogi, a coach with this Houston ball club, managed by Hal Lanier. Hal Lanier, of course, went to school at Whitey Herzog University. Jose Cruz up to lead it off for the Astros. Then Craig Reynolds and John Misrock. 2-1 game, Expos lead. That's out of play. Cruz over the years has been the RBI man for the Houston ball club. He's not having a good 1986. Two strikes on Cruz, no home runs, 28 RBIs. By the way, he needs 12 more RBIs for a total of 1,000 in his career. That's all for Cruz. He grounded out to short in the second, now strikes out in the fifth. 5 strikeouts for Floyd, and here's a look at it. That pitch down and in, Cruz right over top of it, and he was overmatched. Floyd asking the plate umpire probably about the location of the pitch. No doubt about the fact that he swung at it. Cruz, I should say, was the one that was questioning the plate umpire. Craig Reynolds fouling one back, strike one. He bounced out to the first baseman Galarraga in the third inning. A ball and a strike. A couple of years ago, it looked like Reynolds was just about finished with the Houston ball club. And that was, of course, when Dickie Thon firmly established himself as a big league shortstop and one of the fine offensive players in the league. Then came that tragic injury to Thon, which has affected his eyesight. And Reynolds' career received a boost. He got a whole lot of playing time. Had played in very few games up until the 1984 season. And then he became the full-time shortstop again. Had a good year. Had a good year last year. And now platoons with Dickie Thon. 2-2 pitch, and Reynolds hits a ball to the right side. Law plays it to Galarraga, 2 down. Yeoman's ahead by a run in this game. He got Misrock looking at strike 3 in the third inning.
Oh, Floyd, see how high he kicks that front left leg? And then really gets the power off the back right leg. He has good sized legs, big thighs. And that gives him more push off the pitching rubber.
Ball 1 to Misrock, who was the Astros' #1 draft, June of 1979. Out of Puxatawney, Pennsylvania.
I'm sure you know where that is.
Well, everyone in the world knows all about Puxatawney, Pennsylvania,
except me,
because that's where the world's most famous groundhog lives. Puxatawney Phil. 3-0.
I learned something new again tonight.
They check him out each spring, and if he, on a certain date, I've forgotten what that date is, but on a certain date, if he comes up out of his hole and cast a shadow on the earth, they can forecast a certain amount of weather. If there is no shadow, the weather goes the other way. Now, you'll have to check with Puxatawney Phil to find out whether the shadow brings good or bad weather. I'm not too sure about that. Misrock with the base on balls, on with 2 outs in the 5th, and Bob Nepper up. The pitcher flying to left in the 3rd inning.
that an Eastern Pennsylvania or Western?
East Central.
East Central, okay. Now, Lanier out talking to the plate umpire, Dana DeMuth, about something. Couldn't venture a guess of what.
Nepper doesn't seem to be bothered too much by it, whatever it was. He had a comment and a smile. One ball and one strike. One and two on Nepper.
Quite a battle for a hitter, and especially a pitcher, to hit against a guy like Yeoman.
Floyd puts Nepper away. 2 strikeouts in the inning, 6 in the game. And 1 left on by Houston. Midway in the 5th, the Expos lead 2-1.
Well, my friends, the time has come. Raise the roof and have some fun. Throw away the work to be done. Let the music play on, play on, play on. Everybody sing, everybody dance. Lose yourself in wild romance. We're going to party, caramba, fiesta, forever. Come on and sing along.
MI5 pleases the night owl with all the latest videos, the classics, and concerts. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. It's all night long.
All night long.
Nepper ready to go here in the 5th inning, and the Expos coming to bat and leading 2-1. The Expos will be entertaining Pete Rose's Cincinnati Reds. Pete's going to come in here smiling.
Well, he certainly will, beating the Mets 3 in a row. No one has done that this year. And Pete, of course, will have upset on his mind as far as the Expos are concerned for the next 4 days. And he's going to pitch a couple left-handed pitchers that the Expos have handled a little bit in the past. Chris Welsh, they had him, they hit against him, and they've done pretty well. And should be an interesting series. We're going to see Bill Gullickson, I believe, on Saturday night, former Expo. So it's going to be a fun series. There's no question about that. The Reds starting to play a lot better baseball.
Top of the Expos order coming up. We look at Les Moss.
Yogi.
And there's Yogi.
He said, I'm still taking those ugly pills.
He's a good man.
He is that.
He's got a terrific baseball mind. And I'm sure he's been a big help to Hal Lanier.
Well, Yogi's loose. He knows the game exceptionally well.
Rain's 0 for 2 tonight. Started out this ball game with a 14-game hitting streak. Tim's average now .333 as he steps in against Nepper. By the way, I want to correct myself. When you asked about Puxatawny, I said East Central, didn't I?
I think so.
See, I naturally think of all good things happening in the eastern part of the state. Actually, Puxatawny is West Central. I just happen to be geared toward the east.
It's because you live there.
Right.
Well, Raines almost loses the bat on this swing. See that one hand come off? Managed to hold on. And sometimes that hurts a little bit when that hand comes off the bat and you try to hold on. You're better off losing the bat sometimes. Now look at the equipment he's got on. Sweatbands, hitting gloves. And tonight's not a night unless you're the pitcher that you're going to sweat much. But all of them wear those sweatbands. They're very colorful. Darryl Strawberry probably has the longest sweatbands in the league. They almost go up to his elbows.
Yeah, he wears back-to-back bands on both arms. Doubleheader in the sweatband department on each arm.
Well, he has long arms. Strawberry's really helped the Mets lately. He's hitting the ball exceptionally well. Going to make the All-Star team. Tim didn't like that.
Didn't think so.
From our angle, I don't know what Tim thought about that pitch, whether it was inside or what. That was a big breaking ball, wasn't it? That thing started up almost letter high and handed down maybe below the knees a little bit.
One out. The first strikeout for Bob Knepper. Vance Laws bounced to short, lined out to center. One and one to Law. The American League starting lineup has been announced for the All-Star game, and the 57th edition of the game will be played next Tuesday night at the Astrodome in Houston. So this Houston Ball Club is actually hosting the Astros as an organization, hosting the All-Star game. 1 and 2 on Law. Lance Parrish, who hit 2 home runs today, Duke, at Minnesota in that 7-0 Tiger win. He's going to be the catcher on that team. That's all for Vance Law.
Well, that's a good choice. Lance Parrish is a very good catcher. We see Law thinking the slider might break inside, but it stayed on the plate, and I think he was fooled by the pitch. I think he's looking for something else.
So two are caught looking here, Raines and Law, and here's Andre Dawson, who hit his 14th home run of the season in the first inning. Ouch. Foul ball down and into the dirt and bounced right up, glanced off Hawk.
We'll see how much of it we can pick up here as he chops that ball into the dirt. It was out of the strike zone. Caught him right in the side of the head. Right near the ear.
So as Dawson gets back in, we'll take you through that American League lineup. Wally Joyner at first base.
Yeah,
first rookie to be elected to the starting position. Then Lou Whitaker at second base. George Brett at third. Cal Ripken at short, and an outfield of Kirby Puckett, Ricky Henderson, and Dave Winfield. I don't think George Steinbrenner voted, but Winfield made it.
Winfield wouldn't have been in there if Steinbrenner had voted. Can you imagine an owner getting on a guy like Dave Winfield for not driving in enough runs and getting enough clutch hits? The years that he has had for Mr. Steinbrenner. Every hitter goes into RBI slump every once in a while.
Well, he had it all figured out, too, didn't he? He had the batting averages against the top division teams, and batting average against the lower place clubs. Bill Doran with the fielding play. That's all for Dawson and the Expos in the 5th. They go in order against Bob Knepper. And through 5 innings at Olympic Stadium, the Expos are ahead 2-1.
Every time you fill up at a Petro-Canada station, you're pumping your money back into Canada, and that benefits all Canadians. Petro-Canada, our energy is Canada.
Playing in his 9th game since being called up from their AAA club, he's done a good job with the bat, hitting at .391. 9 hits and 20. This is Dave Van Horn reminding you that our next CBC telecast comes up on Saturday, the 26th of July, 7 o'clock. The Expos take on the Reds. We'll be there to bring you all the action. Floyd Yeomans ready to go after the top of the Houston batting order, Bill Doran. And there you see what Floyd has done compared to what Bob Knepper's done through 5. Amongst those 6 strikeouts for Floyd, he struck out the side in the first inning. Bill Doran 1 out of 2, fanned in the first, got a base hit, stole second, went to third on Ty Gainey's bouncer back to the mound in the 4th inning. Yeomans spun, had a play on Doran at third base, elected to go to first. That cost Floyd because Doran then scored on a sacrifice fly by Denny Walling. 1 strike on Doran. Galarraga with the play, and that's all for Doran.
Well, Doran hit that ball very hard, but Andre's playing where he could reach it, and being a right-handed thrower, glove in his left hand, it made it a lot easier for him because this ball is hit a lot harder than it looked. Good play by Galarraga.
Ty Gainey up. He has struck out and bounced to the mound. 1 strike on Gainey. The Houston club is playing .500 against the East, 19 and 19. But they won 5 of 8 against the Expos.
Gainey's going to have to start the bat a little bit quicker on that fastball away. He's taking it right out of Fitzgerald's glove.
That's all for Gainey as he's caught looking. 7 strikeouts for Floyd Yeomans.
Good fastball out over the plate. And the ball runs a little bit away, and Fitzgerald pulls it back a little bit just in case the umpire was in doubt.
Just 22 years old, born and raised in Tampa, moved to Fontana, California for his junior and senior years in high school before being drafted by the Mets. 1 strike on Walling. If you're wondering how the Astros, who lead the West, have done against the Mets, who lead the East, they played 8 times, and the Mets have won 6 of those 8. Two strikes on Walling.
Little slider that time, didn't break much, but it fooled Walling.
Mitch Webster under this. The Astros go 1-2-3. Nothing across here in the 6th. After 5.5 innings in Montreal, Floyd Yeomans leading Bob Knepper 2-1.
I've actually had patients come in and say, Dr. Parent, this is my last hope, you know. And a few months later, they say, you don't realize how serious I was. If this hadn't worked for me, I was contemplating suicide.
This incredible program.
Tu trouveras jamais une meilleure bière.
Voici la toute nouvelle Nova à traction avant.
C'est une petite merveille.
Regardez-moi cette allure.
Oui, une merveille.
Cette mécanique.
Une petite merveille.
Et cet espace.
Une petite merveille.
Partout, partout.
Oui, une petite merveille.
De la conception à la construction à la finition, à tout point de vue, la toute nouvelle Nova est une petite merveille.
Nova, ça, c'est une petite merveille.
Le joueur de premier but, Bob Horner, des Braves d'Atlanta, a été élu le joueur de la semaine dans la Ligue nationale. Horner est devenu le 11e joueur de l'histoire à taper 4 circuits dans un même match. C'était dimanche dernier contre les Expos à Atlanta. Il a fait marquer 8 points et en a compté lui-même 8 au cours de la semaine. Bob Horner.
Un exploit que nos téléspectateurs ont pu suivre lors de notre reportage télévisé en direct d'Atlanta dimanche dernier. Maintenant, Claude, un coup d'œil de nouveau au résultat, peut-être cette fois dans l'américaine.
Dans la Ligue américaine, on vous a dit la victoire de Phil Niekro 6-3 contre Chicago. Californie l'a emporté 6-1 contre Milwaukee. Don Sutton, le lanceur gagnant, sa 8e de l'année, le perdant Higuera 10-7. Et Détroit a eu raison de Minnesota 7-0. Lance Parrish, 2 circuits. Coles en a frappé un. Le gagnant Morris 8-6. Et à Boston, après 2 matchs complets, c'est 0-0 entre Oakland et Boston. Et John McNamara a été expulsé en première manche. Je ne sais pas pourquoi, mais...
Ça n'a pas traîné. Brooks est 2-2 ce soir. Oh, c'est un superbe lancé. La courbe est bien revenue vers le coin extérieur. 9 coups sûrs contre les Astros cette saison, tous à Montréal. La balle est en jeu, chargée par Walling qui échappe la balle. Le coureur est sauf.
Ça serait sûrement un coup sûr. Danny Walling n'avait presque pas de chance de retirer Yubi Brooks. Surtout que sa seule chance, c'était de retirer avec sans que la balle touche son gant. Regardez la balle qui bondit très lentement. Il va tenter de capter la balle de la main nue. Il vient pour lancer, la balle lui échappe. Alors c'est un coup sûr. C'est là qu'on peut apprécier les talents défensifs d'un gars comme Tim Wallach. Wallach, c'est rare qu'il va rater son coup lorsqu'il tente un jeu comme celui-là.
Et Brooks se retrouve avec un match de 3 coups sûrs, 3 en 3 jusqu'à maintenant. Wallach, 0-2 ce soir. Point extérieur, un tir gardé bas, prise. Brooks a commencé le match avec une moyenne de 327, 3 en 3, relais assez vif de Nepper à Davis au premier.
Wallach a déjà le nom de Nepper 2 fois inscrit dans son livre avec des coups de circuit.
Oh, c'était tentant, mais finalement, elle laisse passer la balle 1 et 1. Il avait bien jugé. Voilà la fende. À l'intérieur. Deuxième prise.
Même si on est fort, des fois, on est incapable de retenir son élan. Et Wallach, je pense qu'il avait frappé cette balle, il serait allé chez les voltigeurs.
Donc, une balle de prise alors que Nepper reprend sa place. Brooks toujours au premier. Il n'a pas une avance importante en direction du deuxième coussin. C'est effleuré. La balle est captée par le receveur Meserock, un retrait.
Le troisième retrait sur des prises pour Bob Nepper. Un tir hors de la zone des prises. C'était à la hauteur des épaules. Et Wallach le croyait bon à frapper, mais il a simplement effleuré.
Mitch Webster a reçu des instructions de son collègue au troisième. Et il est prêt. S'élance. Oh, balle à double retrait possible. C'est allé de Reynolds à Doran. Doran remet à Davis. Et c'est un retrait 6-4-4-3 qui met fin à la 6e manche des Expos. Il n'y a pas eu de point, un coup sûr. Personne n'a été laissé sur les sentiers. 6 manches de compléter. Montréal mène 2-1 dans ce match qui vous parvient, mesdames, messieurs, en direct du stade du Parc olympique.
Je les avais pourtant prévenus. Pour protéger la ville, il faut de la protection. Mais ils n'ont rien voulu savoir. Alors moi, je m'en suis payé de la protection. Rèse, la teinture pour bois. Rèse dure longtemps. car les pigments de couleur sont tellement fins qu'ils pénètrent le bois et pour longtemps. Achetez la protection de reste que je leur ai dit, mais ils m'ont pas écouté.
V'là le bon temps, merci tout ton cœur. T'es un beau joueur qui fait honneur à tes couleurs. Le v'là le bon temps, merci tout ton cœur.
Les détaillants et agents Petro-Canada qui commanditent le baseball jeunesse trouvent leur récompense dans la joie d'un enfant. Petro-Canada, ça nous appartient.
Début de la 7e manche, dans un instant, alors que Yeoman y va de quelques lancers. Je vais mentionner que le mercredi 30 juillet, c'est la clinique de sang Roger Savard. La clinique de sang annuelle des Expos, nommée à la mémoire de Roger Savard, se déroulera au stade olympique, donc de 10h à 19h, et est organisée en collaboration avec les épouses des joueurs. Et les joueurs circuleront parmi les donneurs au cours de la durée de la clinique. Donc, c'est mercredi, le mercredi 30 juillet, la clinique de sang Roger Savard, au stade du Parc olympique. Davis, Bass et Cruz, début de la 7e. 2-1 Montréal. 0-1 ce soir, Davis. À sa dernière présence, a obtenu un but sur balle. Davis qui est 4e dans la nationale avec un pourcentage de puissance de 518. L'élan. Il est bon de rappeler que Houston n'a qu'un coup sûr. Fausse balle, 0 et 2 jusqu'au grillage.
Un coup sûr, c'est un coup sûr chanceux. Ensuite, vol de but, retrait à l'avant-champ, ballon sacrifice. Ça fait un point. La rapidité de Bill Doran.
As-tu pu remarquer l'évolution de Yeoman au monticule? Il me semble être beaucoup plus sûr de ses moyens. Et c'est retrait sur Elan. Premier retrait de cette 7e manche.
Ça lui en fait 8 retraits sur des prises. Encore une fois, sa balle glissante. Et Davis a été complètement déjoué. Vraiment, j'avoue, depuis qu'il a fait face à Gooden,
oui.
Yeoman semble très, très confiant. Il s'est probablement dit, si je suis capable de battre mon ami Gooden, je suis capable de battre n'importe qui.
Exact. Très juste. On va lancer à passe, balle.
Il y a quelque chose qu'il faut surveiller aussi dans son élan. Avant, il décochait un tir une fois près de son oreille, l'autre fois éloigné, une autre fois son coude baissait. Maintenant, tous ses lancers semblent décocher à peu près du même endroit. Là, c'est son changement de vitesse. Là.
Et ça a marché, hein? 1-1.
Encore une fois, vous voyez, il étouffe la balle. Bass est complètement déjoué.
Très haut, la balle est probablement en jeu. Longue course de Galarraga. Près de l'abri. Devait se méfier. Capte la balle. 2 retraits. Peut-être qu'on pourra revoir. Je ne sais pas quel angle ça pourrait me donner une caméra qui est au sol tout près de l'abri. Mais il y a un autre angle.
Il aurait pu y avoir collision parce que Fitzgerald était tout près. Et là, finalement, lorsqu'il a entendu Galarraga et les joueurs dans l'abri, il a laissé la balle à Galarraga et lui a capté juste avant d'entrer dans l'abri avant de disparaître à nos yeux.
Il était attendu à bras ouverts.
C'est 2 beaux jeux de Galarraga. 3 avec le relais de Ubi Brooks tantôt.
José Cruz, premier lancé qui était haut à échapper à Fitzgerald. On a l'impression que c'est passé à travers son gant. Cruz n'a aucun circuit depuis le 16 septembre 85 à Atlanta. Ce soir, il est 0-2. Sa moyenne est 251. Avec 2 retraits et personne devant lui. Oh!
Voilà un signe de maturité. Il y a une balle rapide qui était beaucoup trop haut. Et là, il revient avec une balle cassante, sa balle glissante. Et c'était une prise. Alors, Cruz a été complètement déjoué.
Halling.
Maintenant, il a vu une rapide, une glissante, une rapide. Alors, c'est le temps pour son changement de vitesse. Et il l'a très bien maîtrisé. Vraiment, il m'a surpris ce soir parce qu'il a utilisé peut-être 15 à 20 fois son changement de vitesse. Aurelio Lopez qui fait les choses.
Avec une balle de prise. Voilà le lancer. La balle échappe à Fitzgerald. Sa tête touchée au sol auparavant. C'est 2-2. Alors, 2 partout.
C'est ça. Là, il a tenté d'utiliser son changement de vitesse et il a accéléré son élan. Il a accéléré son élan plutôt que de rester comme il était avant. Vous voyez la balle qui tombe trop rapidement. Parce que lorsqu'il prend bien son temps avec son élan, il dégage ses hanches, ses épaules pointent vers le map. Ça n'arrive pas. Maintenant, il a une bonne coordination, mon petit peu.
Roulant. Galarraga, sans aide, complète. C'est la deuxième fois dans cette dominante qui complète le retrait au premier. Et ça met fin à la 7e manche. Les Astros, c'est toujours 2-1 Montréal.
En 1972, Yogi Berra est intronisé au Panthéon du baseball. À 5 pieds 8 et 190 livres, il n'avait pas le physique d'un joueur de baseball, mais quelle carrière il a connue avec les Yankees de New York. Il a connu toute une carrière avec les Yankees. En 1947, il succédait à Bill Dickey au poste de receveur. En 18 saisons, il a conservé une moyenne de 285 et cogné 358 circuits. Il a connu 5 saisons de 100 points produits et 11 saisons de 20 circuits ou plus. Il a aussi participé à 14 séries mondiales, un record. Après la saison 1963, Yogi Berra prenait sa retraite après 18 saisons dans le baseball majeur.
Et voilà, un Yogi qui a pris de l'âge, évidemment. On se connaît toujours. C'est une des figures les plus familières du monde du baseball depuis 40 ans, au moins.
Oh oui, et puis, après avoir été congédié par les Yankees, là, eh bien, M. McMullen, le propriétaire des Astros, lui a demandé, lui qui est son voisin, lui a demandé de venir aider Al Lanier.
Le premier frappeur est Andrés Galarraga qui est 0-2 ce soir. Seulement 3 coups sûrs, dont un circuit dans ses 12 derniers matchs. La moyenne est passée à 247. L'offrande de Nepper a été effleurée, je pense, une et une. Fitzgerald et Yeoman vont suivre. Deuxième moitié de la 7e manche, les Expos mènent 2-1.
Il y a eu toute une peur dimanche lorsqu'il a été touché au derrière de la tête par le lancer d'Edmund. La balle est allée bondir jusqu'à l'arrêt-court.
On a eu peur, nous aussi, puis je peux s'imaginer à sa place ce que c'était sur un lancer qui était, il ne me semblait pas tout à fait accidentel.
Non.
2 balles, une prise. Bien frappé, c'est en lieu sûr. Après 2 bons récupérés par Ty Gilly. Et encore une fois, les Expos en coureur au premier coup, pas de retrait.
Ça, c'est le genre d'élan que Buck Rogers aime Galarraga. Lorsque le Galarraga s'élance comme ça, vous voyez, le lancer est bas. C'est un bon tir. Ça, il s'est penché. Il est allé chercher la balle. Et là, Nepper, lui, s'est penché à son tour. Il ne faut pas se faire frapper à la tête, mais la balle a été cognée très solidement. C'est un bon lancer, un lancer bas.
Fitzgerald, le frappeur suivant. Balle, c'était bas. Mike a une moyenne de 400, c'est-à-dire 26 coups sûrs et 20 points produits depuis le 14 juin. Beau travail. Cette fois, il a été retiré 2 fois à Davis, donc au joueur de premier but, ce qui est quand même assez inusité. 2 balles, aucune prise.
Est-ce qu'il y a des signaux là-dedans? On va le voir dans un instant. S'il y a un signal, ça va être le coup de frappe.
Voilà le lancer. La balle est frappée. 2 bons. Dans la double retraite possible. Oui, et c'est complété. C'est allé de Reynolds à Doran et de Doran à Davis.
Évidemment, sur un jeu comme ça, le coureur au premier lieu n'a vraiment pas de chance. Regardez bien Galarraga où il va s'étendre tout son long. Reynolds remet la balle. Vous voyez, il a déjà commencé à glisser sur le gazon synthétique. Et il n'avait aucune chance. Il était resté debout une fraction de seconde de plus. Il aurait peut-être pu se faire toucher par le joueur de deuxième but qui remettait au premier. Alors, il a dû s'étendre de tout son long très vite.
Yeomans avec 2 retraits et personne sur les sentiers. En 8e manche, c'est Nepper qui serait le 3e frappeur des Astros. Probablement, c'est possiblement la dernière fois qu'on le voit à l'œuvre ce soir. Tout dépendra, je suppose, de ce qui se passera en 8e, mais si jamais les Astros envoient un coureur sur les sentiers. Sa moyenne est passée à 189. Elle était de 171 en début de match. Il est 1 en 2 ce soir. Voilà, le lancer est à l'extérieur. Frank DiPino et Larry Anderson sont à l'œuvre dans l'entour réservé aux releveurs des Astros. Oh. Deuxième prise, 1 et 2. Il en a servi totalement aux Astros que c'est à son tour maintenant de s'est lancé sur de se faire des jeux complètement.
C'est rare qu'on lance un changement de vitesse à un lanceur.
Et tout prétendu, ça devrait être illégal. Ici, c'était retrait sur décision qui met fin à la 7e manche des Expos. Il n'y a pas eu de points. Un coup sûr, personne n'a été laissé sur les sentiers. Déjà 7 manches de jouer. Et Montréal mène 2-1 dans ce match qui vous parvient, mesdames, messieurs, en direct du stade du Parc olympique.
Ici, Radio-Canada.
On dit que tout finit par des chansons. Retournons dans les années 30.
Elle en a fait du chemin, la chanson québécoise, depuis les années 30. Elle a même franchi nos frontières. Jean Besseret nous propose en 6 volets un survol de 50 ans de chansons québécoises. De la Bolduc à Beau Dommage, toutes les vedettes du disque et de la scène défilent pour une chanson au Beau Dimanche, 19h30.
Le festival d'été est un événement culturel de taille à Québec. Consciente de l'envergure d'un tel rassemblement d'artistes internationaux, la télévision de Radio-Canada veut suivre de près son déroulement. Ici, Richard Joubert. Du lundi au vendredi à 18h20, les arts et spectacles veulent être le reflet de cette grande fête. Je vous y prépare de suggestions pour vous aider à mieux planifier vos activités. Du lundi au vendredi, 18h20, place au 19e Festival d'été international de Québec.
Profitez des plaisirs de l'été maintenant et payez en 87 seulement. C'est la grande vente de juillet au Centre Massicotte, votre représentant piscine patio Citadelle. Mais oui, faites installer votre piscine creusée ou hors terre maintenant et payez seulement en 87. La vente de juillet représente aussi des rabais jusqu'à 50% sur le plus grand choix de meubles et accessoires de patio au Canada. Ne manquez pas la vente de juillet de votre représentant piscine patio Citadelle, le Centre Massicotte, à Québec, Lévis et Charlesbourg.
La 8e manche va commencer dans un moment. C'est Craig Reynolds qui sera le premier frappeur. Et là, on pourrait se faire avec des changements dans la formation.
Oui, parce que le lanceur, comme tu l'as dit tantôt, Napper est 3e. On voit déjà Louis Meadows, le numéro 26, en arrière de Miserac, qui est là. Alors, ils sont 3 de front pour affronter 3 Yeomans.
Ça va bien jusqu'à maintenant. Et il lancera gaucher Reynolds, qui est 0 en 2 ce soir. C'est pas compliqué. Il y a un coup sûr par Houston jusqu'à maintenant. Reynolds qui avait été le premier choix des Pirates il y a déjà 15 ans. Il n'a pas de circuit depuis le 9 juin dernier. C'était à San Diego. Il a 3 circuits seulement cette saison. Dans son cas, ça s'avère déception. Très haut, c'est fort. Une balle, une prise. Miserac. 2 joueurs au cercle d'attente. Faut qu'il y en ait au moins un, mais est-ce qu'on peut en avoir deux?
Oui, Louis Meadows est là, lui, pour le lanceur. Se dégourdir un peu.
2 balles, une prise. Très haut. Dawson est parti de loin. Et c'est Webster, finalement, qui a le dernier mot, comme il se doit. Dans de telles circonstances, un frais. Webster va trouver sa position, donc Webster sur le centre. Meserock est déjà prêt. Meserock est 0 en 1. Il a eu un but sur balle. Prise.
Il n'a pas perdu trop de vélocité à venir jusqu'à présent, Floyd Yeoman. Il est encore au-dessus de 90, sûrement.
Non seulement il est impeccable, mais il n'a pas eu tellement de lancers à effectuer jusqu'à maintenant. Ça est en relatif. On n'a pas fait le calcul, sauf que on n'a pas vu souvent de 3 balles de prise.
Son style est beaucoup amélioré. Larry Burnett a travaillé fort avec lui, Buck Rogers aussi. Ça fait des dividendes.
Non, c'est à l'extérieur. Deuxième balle.
Qui aurait dit qu'au début de juillet, c'est le Yeoman qui aurait le plus de victoires chez les Expos? Il n'aurait pas cru qu'il aurait gagé là-dessus au camp d'entraînement. Hein?
Ah bon, oui.
Il est parti 3 défaites, pas de victoire.
Ça remontait à un début difficile, mais on a été patient comme il se doit. Il fera des erreurs encore, il n'est pas parfait. Mais quel potentiel. Ici, c'est 3 balles d'une prise. De lancer. Coin extérieur. Compte complet.
Lorsqu'il pointe son épaule gauche vers la cible et l'épaule touche presque son menton.
Oh, fausse balle.
Ça lui donne beaucoup de force dans son lancer aussi. Il a ses jambes. Tout fonctionne bien pour lui par les temps qui courent.
Donc voilà, avec un compte complet, l'enfant de Yeoman, 2 sur balle. 2 sur balle avec 3 balles de prise. Donc, Meserock s'en va au premier. C'est le deuxième but sur balle accordé par Yeoman au receveur des Astros qui frappait pour 172 de moyenne. Et là, Meserock va disparaître puisqu'on a un coureur suppléant.
Tony Walker. Tony Walker va aller courir pour lui. Et Louis Meadows va frapper. Meadows a un coup sûr en 4 depuis qu'on l'a rappelé. Et son coup sûr, c'était contre les Expos. C'était hier, son premier dans le baseball majeur. Et chaque fois qu'il a été utilisé, c'était comme frappeur suppléant, 1 en 4.
Donc, de la vitesse au premier. Avec un retrait. Teta qui était à peu près... qui regardait le match tranquillement. Il n'a pas été occupé ce soir. Là, ça doit d'être un peu plus aux aguets. Les relais de Yeomans qui va empêcher de tous les moyens possibles. Avec un score de 2-1, va empêcher avec un retrait en 8e par tous les moyens le coureur de voler le deuxième. Ici, c'est une prise de décision des notes de Mute.
Il y a un manque d'expérience au premier but. Walker a 4 buts volés en 5 tentatives. Alors, il n'y a pas beaucoup d'expérience, mais il est vite. Et Arloner aime prendre des chances, alors il pourrait avoir le coup de frappe. Le vol de but, un des deux.
Oh, c'est plus serré cette fois. Hein?
Très serré, parce que Yeoman a failli prendre Walker alors qu'il faisait un petit saut pour se placer les 2 pieds avant de s'en aller au deuxième. Et il a fait un bon relais au premier. Il est revenu juste à temps.
0-1 à Meadows.
C'est le secret d'un lanceur, il faut prendre des coureurs à contre-pied. Il faut surveiller, puis lorsque le coureur lève un pied pour se placer un peu plus loin, c'est là qu'on lance au but.
De lancer. Prise, une deuxième. Sur un tir qui était gardé bas, qui semblait vers l'extérieur du marbre.
On ne peut pas demander un tir plus parfait, à la hauteur du pied au point extérieur.
Aucune balle de prise. Encore. Pas d'audace, hein, Yoman?
Oui, Galarraga a failli être menotté au premier coussin. Ça arrive à 90 000 à l'heure. Ils sont pas loin.
Avec le coureur est parti, c'était le coureur et frappe. Le relais arrive, semble-t-il. Attends, non, le coureur est sauf. La balle a échappé à Brooks.
Et la balle était dans le gant de Yobi Brooks, mais il ne faut pas oublier que Yobi Brooks joue blessé. Il a un protecteur spécial au pouce gauche. Il a beaucoup de difficulté à maîtriser son gant. Et la balle a semblé sortir de son gant. Mais la balle était là avant.
Oui.
Regardez Walker qui plonge. Il plonge dans le gant de Yobi Brooks et la balle en est sortie. Encore une fois, un bon relais de Fitzgerald. Brooks est là, capte la balle et il n'avait plus de balle dans le gant.
C'est une balle de prise. Oui, Meadows. Alors, très coureur au deuxième. C'est bas. 2-2.
Maintenant, s'il y a une balle qui est frappée au champ extérieur, il va falloir la ramener rapidement, cette balle. Et seul Dawson a un bon bras dans les trois voltigeurs et on doute que le frappeur puisse frapper la balle au champ droit. Normalement, il frappe au champ gauche.
La balle est frappée. Waller, quel superbe jeu. Le relais sera-t-il à temps? Oups, non, le coureur est sauf. Et malgré tout, il a limité les dégâts.
Il a limité les dégâts. Il a empêché Walker de marquer. Et il a empêché Louis Meadows, qui est rapide, de se rendre au deuxième but. C'est un superbe jeu. Il a lancé un tir désespéré en se relevant même pas. Je pense qu'il était à genoux lorsqu'il a effectué son tir vers le premier but. Mais Walker n'a pas bougé du deuxième, lui.
C'est un point, ça.
Regardez l'arrêt.
On y reviendra peut-être plus tard, alors que Doran est le frappeur. Il est bon de rappeler que Doran a réussi le seul coup sûr des Astros.
Oui, il était encore agenouillé lorsqu'il a effectué son tir.
Oh, c'était le seul coup sûr jusqu'au moment où Meadows a fait contact avec la balle ici. Il s'en est tiré avec un coup sûr au champ intérieur. Le lancer à Doran, c'est une balle. Là. Coureur au premier et au deuxième avec un frais. Hors ligne. 1-1. Sur le point marqué par les Astros en quatrième manche, avait commencé avec un simple de Doran. Il avait volé le deuxième poussant. Gainé ensuite sur une balle dont le relais avait été fait de Yeoman à Galarraga au premier. Ça avait permis à Doran de se rendre au troisième. Ou non? Oui, au troisième. Et ensuite, Walling avait permis à Doran de venir. Le lancer. Prise. Deuxième. Pour le moment, le but volé de Walker n'a pas fait de dommage.
Ça fait mal.
Coureurs sont partis, il y en a moins un, le relais au troisième. Le coureur est sauf. Autre but volé. Walker.
Walker semble s'être blessé en plongeant au troisième coussin. Regardez sa réaction. On ne s'occupe pas de lui au deuxième. Il dit, je m'en vais vers le troisième. Et il plonge. Et il a donné contre le genou de Warlock, j'ai l'impression. Pour moi, Warlock, il s'est cogné contre le genou de Warlock.
Walker?
Oui.
À moins qu'en rebattant le gant, Warlock l'ait atteint à la tête.
Regardez la façon qu'il est entré au troisième. Là, il plonge. Regardez le genou de Warlock. J'ai l'impression que Warlock avait le genou.
Retrait! Quel lancer important de ce stade-ci. C'est tout pour Doran. Encore une fois, des choses changent. Et c'est un gros retrait pour Yeoman.
Et là, Mike Fitzgerald s'en va au monticule. Buck Rogers s'en va au monticule aussi. Parce qu'ici, il y a plusieurs possibilités. Premièrement, il y a la possibilité du double vol. Qu'est-ce qu'on fait si jamais le coureur du premier but, Louis Meadows, s'en va vers le deuxième? Il est rapide. Est-ce qu'on va tenter de le tirer au deuxième? Est-ce qu'on va garder la balle dans la mitaine? Est-ce qu'on va lancer au troisième? Vince Love va être au courant. Yobi Brooks va être au courant. Alors, le message de Rogers est livré. On va voir la stratégie maintenant. Parce que Gainé est rapide ici. Hein?
Avec Ty Gainé et des coureurs aux extrémités. 2 retraits. 8e manche. La marque est 2-1 Montréal. Situation délicate. L'élan. Avec un Gainé qui visait loin qui raconte. Pour Gainé, c'est sa 13e présence au bâton. Coureur est parti. Prise. On ne s'est pas préoccupé de Meadows.
Ah, il lui donnait le deuxième but. Le frappeur, c'est lui qui est le gars important dans cette manche.
Ça doit ressembler au message que Yeomans a eu. Hein.
C'est ça. Maintenant, il lui a servi 2 balles rapides. Est-ce qu'on reste avec la balle rapide? Là, il y a un coureur au deuxième. C'est le de s'assurer que Yeomans ne se trompe pas dans les signaux. Il se souvienne bien de la clé avec un coureur au deuxième parce qu'un mauvais lancer, c'est le pointage égal.
Aucune balle, 2 prises, 2 retraits, 2 coureurs sur les sentiers. 8e manche. La foule qui encourage Yeomans. Avec 0-2, il est bien placé. Le lancer. On va en appel au 3e. Il n'y a pas eu de réaction. C'est une balle, oui, mais
il n'y a pas d'élan là.
Charlie Willis, non. Fitzgerald a tenté de mettre toutes les chances de son côté. Avec une balle 2 prises. Les encouragements qui continuent. Voilà le lancer à l'extérieur. C'est un beau geste de Fitzgerald parce que ça se tenait hors cible. 2-2. Deux balles, 2 prises, 2 retraits, 2 coureurs sur les sentiers. Voilà comment ça se présente. Yeomans est prêt. Le lancer. La balle est frappée chez les spectateurs. À l'arrière, toujours 2-2.
Alors, vous savez aussi ce que Buck Rogers a dit à Fitzgerald et à Yeomans. Le meilleur lancer de Yeomans, c'est sa balle rapide. On sert des balles rapides à Ty Gainé. Et les 5 lancers qu'on lui a servis, chaque fois, c'est une balle rapide.
Baladon avec toujours 2 balles 2 prises. C'est peut-être le match qui se joue en ce moment. Le lancer, l'élan, le retrait. Ça met fait à la 3e retrait, ça met fait à la 8e manche des Astros. Il n'y a pas eu de point. Un coup sûr, aucune erreur et 2 coureurs laissés sur les sentiers. 7 manches et demie de jouer. Encore une fois, on va ce superbe lancer ultra rapide de Yeomans.
La balle qui sort au coin derrière, on ne peut rien y faire.
Le score est 2-1 Expos. Mesdames, messieurs, cela vous parvient en direct du stade du Parc olympique à Montréal.
Le prochain reportage du baseball des Expos sera présenté samedi prochain, le 12 juillet à 19h30, heure avancée de test, alors que les Reds de Cincinnati affronteront les Expos de Montréal au stade du Parc olympique. Les amateurs auront l'occasion de voir à l'œuvre Dave Parker, qui est parmi les meneurs pour les circuits et les points produits. Donc, un rendez-vous à ne pas manquer, samedi prochain, 12 juillet, 19h30, alors que les Expos de Montréal recevront les Reds de Cincinnati.
Alors qu'on va prendre la deuxième moitié de la 8e manche. Voilà Yeomans qui a fait un superbe travail jusqu'à maintenant. Et on va vous dire encore, il y a des changements en défense du côté des Astros. Et on aura un nouveau lanceur, évidemment, au monticule.
Aurelio Lopez, qui a déjà lancé pour Saint-Louis. Il est tel qui est en gueule de Détroit. Et Houston lui a fait signer un contrat il y a à peu près 2 mois. Pour Lopez, c'est une 15e présence, chaque fois comme releveur. Il a 3 matchs préservés, une victoire, une défaite. Et il a 14 retraits sur des prises et seulement 5 buts sur balle en 23 manches. C'est un lanceur de balles rapides. Il a perdu peut-être 5 ou 6 livres au cours de l'hiver. Il est descendu de 260 à 250. Mais il a encore un bon bras.
Donc, HB est d'office maintenant au poste de receveur, mais on surveille Aurelio Lopez. Voilà HB dont je vous parlais, le numéro 14. Et au champ à la droite, c'est Meadows. Oui, Meadows. Raines est le premier frappeur, deuxième moitié de la 8e manche avec les Expos non par un. Bass est le voltigeur de centre maintenant. Là et Dawson vont suivre. Raines n'a pas de coup sûr en 3 présences. C'est là, c'est rate. Sa moyenne est de 232. Comme frappeur gaucher, la moyenne de Raines, 349 cette saison. C'est bas, vous l'avez vu. 1-1. Oh, un lancé finalement qui s'est retrouvé hors cible à la toute dernière seconde. 2 balles, une prise. Fausse balle à l'arrière. 2 balles, 2 prises.
Et moi, à Toronto, c'est maintenant 3-1 pour Seattle en 5e. Et à Boston, Oakland a marqué 4 points en 3e. Les Red Sox sont venus avec 6. Alors, c'est 6-4. Il y a eu un circuit Dave Kingman qui est 19e pour Oakland.
2 balles, 2 prises. Lopez et Ashby sont entendus. Le lancer, la balle est frappée du côté gauche. À la poursuite, c'est Cruz. Oh, en sautant du gant 4 de la balle. Ça a failli passer par-dessus. 11 joueurs défense, un frère.
Il me semblait que O.C. Cruz a mal jugé la balle parce qu'il ne savait pas vraiment. Regardez-le aller. Tout à coup, il va saisir la balle en sautant et la balle semblait être derrière lui un peu. Il a mal jugé la trajectoire de la balle, mais la balle a été frappée avec beaucoup de force par Wayne.
Mansla qui aimerait bien trouver un moyen de faire contact doucement sur les sentiers. 11 coups sûrs. Ici, la balle est frappée, mais ce ne sera pas pour cette fois. C'est demandé par Reynolds. Le joueur d'arrêt court et le vent a fallu lui jouer un tour. 2 frères. C'est un tour de Dawson. Dawson a réussi un circuit en première, son 14e de la saison. Et avec 2 refrains, personne devant lui. Deuxième moitié de la 8e manche. Pas assez rapide qui coupe le coin extérieur. Prise. 1 en 2, moyenne 275. Il était atteint par un lancer de Nepper en 3e. L'élan. Il est encore loin et c'est aucune balle de prise.
Aurelio a maintenant 37 ans.
Fausse balle. À l'arrière.
Il est né au Mexique à Tecamachalco.
Ah bon?
Je ne sais pas où ce que c'est, ça, mais c'est difficile à prononcer quand même. Tecamachalco.
Oui. Ça, j'ai aucune idée comment ça va prononcer. Il fait 6 pieds et au moins 225 livres. Regardez le tour de taille.
Ah, 250.
Oui. Bon,
Il est
mais
payé à
225
livre.
dans le guide de presse.
Oui. C'est sa première communion, ça.
Là, là, c'est fausse balle. Encore une fois, le grillage arrière. Dawson, Brooks. Elle devrait bien avoir l'occasion de venir frapper. Pas tous les jours qu'on peut s'offrir la chance d'être 4 en 4. Non. C'est un dommage. Il faudra une longue course. C'était bien jugé par passe, finalement, qui est là à temps. Capte la balle et complète le 3e retrait en 8e. Pour les Expos, il n'y a pas eu de point des coups sûrs. Personne n'a été laissé sur les sentiers. 8 manches de jouer. Et c'est Montréal qui mène 2-1 dans ce match. Mesdames et messieurs, qui vous parle en direct du stade olympique.
De la pâte bleue.
Il paraît qu'il y a de plus en plus de gens qui font partie de la secte. Les gardiens du secret.
Quelle secte? Il y a de plus en plus de gens qui ont du goût.
Il paraît même qu'ils ont des signes secrets.
Voilà.
Ça veut-tu dire que tu manques de la secte de la pâte bleue?
Non, ça veut dire que tu viens de payer une tournée générale de la pâte bleue.
Excellent!
Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire, ce signe-là? Est bonne rang?
Non, non, non. Acceptez-vous l'échec?
Ce reportage est autorisé en vertu des droits de télévision accordés par le club de baseball Montréal Limité, uniquement pour le plaisir des téléspectateurs. Et toute publication, reproduction, autre utilisation des images, description et compte-rendu de ce match est interdite sans le consentement explicite du club de baseball Montréal Limité. Dernière chance des Astros. En 9e manche, ils enverront Walling, Davis et Bass. Il y a des changements en défense alors qu'on a envoyé là au premier coussin et que Al Newman joue au 2e but maintenant.
Qu'est-ce qui se passe avec Galarraga? Il y a sûrement quelque chose de normal avec lui.
Newman, que voilà.
Galarraga, c'est un des bons joueurs de premier but de la Ligue. Vraiment, le jeu de Warlick en 8e manche a volé le match, a gardé la balle frappée avec un excellent coureur au deuxième. Il plonge, il va se relever à genoux, il lance au premier coussin et Walker a été incapable de bouger depuis le deuxième but. C'est ça qui a coûté le point vraiment aux Astros de Houston.
De toute façon, après le match, on aura le choix du joueur du match fait par Claude Raymond et le joueur là-bas du match reçoit un appareil photo Nikon. Walling est le premier frappeur. Il a amorcé le match avec une moyenne légèrement supérieure à 300. Le lancer est hors cible. Un coup d'œil dans les gradins, on se rend compte qu'il n'y a pas grand monde qui a quitté le stade. Avec un score de 2-1, c'est pas étonnant. Deuxième balle ici. Voilà Yeoman qui est prêt. Le lancer, prise, décision. Des notes de Newt, 2 et 1. Un peu plus de temps à Yeoman entre chaque lancé. Ça va chez les spectateurs, c'est une deuxième prise. Les deux. Et pour un lanceur qui n'a pas une très longue expérience dans les majeurs, ici c'est une balle. Alors que son équipe mène pas 1 et qu'on se retrouve avec 3 balles de prise, évidemment qu'il y a un peu plus de pression sur les épaules. Ou est-ce qu'on y pense vraiment?
Je ne pense pas qu'il pense à ça là, avec ça.
Là, Webster ne devrait pas avoir de problème. Voilà, capte la balle.
Oh, la pression sur les épaules.
Je me concentre trop pour dire ça.
Oui, c'est ça. La pression sur les épaules, c'est quand ça va mal, quand tout le monde se met à dire, ben là, il y a de la pression sur les épaules, mais lorsqu'il lance avec tellement d'aisance comme il l'a fait là, il n'y a pas de pression du tout.
Glenn Davis. 0-2 ce soir. Il a fait le but sur balle en 4e. Et tout de suite, Yeomans est prêt. Le lancer est assez rapide à l'intérieur. Le cercle d'attente de Kevin Bass. Première moitié de la 9e manche.
Yeomans a effectué un tir, c'est une balle glissante de dernier lancé. Il n'a pas aimé la façon qu'il avait la balle dans ses mains. Alors immédiatement, il a changé de balle. Ça, c'est un bon signe encore.
Attention dans la foule.
Mais là, il faut surveiller pour que l'officiel lui remette la même balle. Ça arrive souvent que l'officiel va remettre la même balle tout de suite. Il y a des fois, on a une balle dans les mains et on ne se sent pas confortable avec cette balle-là. On est mieux de ne pas la lancer. Vous voyez, Yeomans examine la balle. Là. On est mieux de ne pas la lancer quand elle n'est pas confortable.
Encore une fois, c'est avec une rapide. C'est frappé très, très haut. Webster l'attend. C'était à bon contact, à au moins 380 pieds du marbre. Et c'est le deuxième retrait. Personne sur les sentiers. À un trait de la victoire. Et le frappeur qui s'amène, Kevin Bass. Et lui, ce soir, n'a pas de coup sûr en 3 présences. Et Bass, c'est peut-être le plus redoutable des frappeurs des Astros. Lui et Walling sont vraiment les deux meilleurs.
Davis, il vient d'être retiré là, sur une manière avec 19 circuits, mais...
Bass a commencé, il est dangereux d'abord parce que ses qualités de frappeur en vitesse, il est aussi bon de la gauche que de la droite. Il a commencé le match avec 310, il a 306 en ce moment. Il peut frapper la longue balle. La 13 circuits cette saison, c'est le droit de vivre.
Il est rapide et la défensive à l'avant-champ joue profondément, alors espérons qu'il n'a pas l'idée de déposer un amorti surprise.
Et c'est 0 et 1. Non, c'est lance. Ça va à l'arrière. Aucune balle de brise. À un retrait de la victoire pour Yeomans et les Expos. Qui en fait pourra profiter de défaillance des Mets. lancé, c'est bas. Il est 2.
Voilà, c'était une autre balle cassante et Yeomans a été incapable de la maîtriser, alors il change de balle immédiatement.
Avec une balle, 2 prises, le lancer est haut. Alors c'est 2 partout.
Alors sa glissante ne fonctionne plus du tout, là.
Il y avait des beaux lancers rapides à la hauteur des genoux.
Ouais, il va y aller avec la rapide.
Il en reste encore. Avec 2 et 2, le lancer, non. On complet.
Il est allé avec la balle cassante.
Oui. La rapide, c'est hors ligne. Le bâton a été brisé. Basse va changer.
Oh oui, l'endroit où ce lancer a été effectué, c'était à l'intérieur, peut-être un 6 pouces, un pied à l'intérieur du map. Basse s'était lancé, a tiré la balle, alors il n'utilisera plus jamais ce bâton.
Kevin Basse qui revient lentement avec un compte complet maintenant 3 balles. Avec un compte complet pour avoir 2 prises. Et aux écrous au cercle d'attente. Et on pourra poursuivre dans un moment. Basse a vraiment pris tout le temps qu'il pouvait. Yeomans, son lancé, balle. Bûcher-balle avec 2 refrains. Basse s'en va au premier. Il est rapide, Claude l'a mentionné. Permet à Claude de venir frapper.
12 buts volés en 22 tentatives. Le lancer, c'était en bas de la zone des prises. Butcher a tenté de voler la prise à l'officiel, mais il n'est pas tombé dans le panneau.
Qu'est-ce que Bernard peut suggérer, tu penses?
Bien, on va suggérer, j'ai l'impression, d'utiliser la balle rapide de Yeomans parce que sa balle glissante ne fonctionne plus. C'est son meilleur lancer. Cruz est dangereux. Peut-être qu'on va suggérer qu'on garde la balle au coin extérieur ou peut-être pas trop se préoccuper du coureur au premier coussin parce que Yeomans a tendance à se préoccuper du coureur au premier. Alors, le frappeur, c'est le joueur le plus important à l'heure actuelle.
Le lancer, prise, décision. Cruz est 0 en 3 ce soir. Et pour un moment, on avait l'impression que Yeomans avait Basse à sa merci. Mais non, il s'en est tiré avec un but sur balle. À l'extérieur. 1 et 1.
Donc, il a hâte que ça finisse.
Oui, il n'a pas tout à fait détendu.
Non.
Ça va être le troisième retrait se concrétise. Le coureur est parti. La balle est frappée. Ça va chez les spectateurs. C'est une deuxième prise. Et Basse retournera au premier coussin.
On reconnaît beaucoup de stratégie à la Buck Rogers, à Al Lanier. Lui aussi prend beaucoup de chance. Il aime faire courir ses joueurs. Il aime le cours et frappe, le vol de but.
Une balle, 2 prises. Le lancer. Prise de décision. C'est le troisième retrait de cette 9e manche. Et en 9e, les Astros n'ont pas de points. Il n'y a pas eu de coup sur aucune erreur et un coureur laissé sur les sentiers. Le match est terminé. Une superbe performance. S'il égalise Yeomans avec ce retrait, ça marque personnel qui est de 11 retraits sur 3 prises dans le même match.
Et un jour, il va battre cette marque-là facilement parce que s'il continue à lancer des prises comme il l'a fait ce soir, c'est pas fini de voir Yeomans accumuler des retraits sur des prises et souvent des 10 retraits et plus.
C'est une superbe performance que l'on vient de voir, à laquelle on vient d'assister. Il n'y a pas eu un total énorme de coups sûrs dans le match, mais en défense, il y a eu des jeux remarquables. Je pense à un de Wallach. Et ce qu'on verra, c'est le dernier lancer, le lancer qui met fin au match.
Regardez la cible de Fitzgerald au coin extérieur. Le lancer effleure le coin extérieur, peut-être à l'extérieur un peu. C'est Fitzgerald qui a volé la prise et Cruz n'accroît pas ses yeux.
Et voilà comment Yeomans a réagi en voyant Demute prendre la décision.
Ah, non! C'est fini déjà.
Est-ce qu'il serait déjà blasé à son âge? Non, c'est sa personnalité. Il est ce genre de joueur qui ne laisse pas paraître d'ailleurs, que ce soit sur le terrain ou ailleurs, c'est pas un joueur qui fait beaucoup de bruit. Alors nous voilà de nouveau dans notre coin, au stade, alors qu'on peut se réjouir de cette victoire des Expos. Et Claude qui a eu le temps de surveiller tous les détails de la rencontre pourra nous en parler plus longuement, mais j'aimerais connaître tout d'abord son choix du joueur du match.
Eh bien, je pense que c'est pas mal facile de choisir le joueur du match lorsqu'on voit lancer un gars comme Floyd Yeomans. Il était en possession de tous ses moyens. Il n'a accordé que 2 coups sûrs et les 2 coups sûrs n'ont pas été cognés solidement. Et lorsqu'on voit Yeomans avec 9 victoires maintenant, on se demande s'il avait commencé la saison avec un peu plus de force, s'il ne serait pas au match des étoiles lui aussi. Mais tout de même, il fait très, très bien et ça enlève beaucoup un gros fardeau sur les épaules de Buck Rogers et Larry Bernard.
Et le joueur là-bas du match reçoit un appareil photo Nikon. Maintenant, des considérations d'ensemble sur ce qu'a été la rencontre. Je parlais d'un jeu en défense. Je n'ai pas oublié celui-là parce que c'était super, celui de Wallach. Au premier coussin également, il y a eu du beau travail de Galarraga.
Galarraga fait du beau travail. Malheureusement, il n'a pas terminé le match. Je ne sais pas s'il y a eu des étourdissements parce qu'on sait qu'il a été frappé à la tête dimanche à Atlanta. Mais il a très bien joué. Mais lorsqu'on voit Wallach jouer, lorsqu'on voit Walling jouer au 3e but, on a vu tantôt, il a essayé de capter une balle de la main nue, une balle frappée par U.B. Brooks. La balle lui a échappé. Wallach, c'est rare que ces balles-là lui échappent. Le jeu qu'il a fait contre Louis Meadows, c'était un jeu spectaculaire. Il a empêché Walker, qui est rapide, de marquer du 2e. Même, il l'a gardé au 2e but. Et il y a U.B. Brooks qui a eu une bonne soirée avec les coups sûrs.
Oui.
Et puis,
c'est simple.
Dans l'ensemble, c'était un très, très bon match.
Ça a été un match fort divertissant. Et ce qui n'est pas nécessairement courant dans le monde du baseball majeur, c'était un match qui s'est déroulé à assez vive allure. Les matchs qui dépassent 3 heures maintenant sont choses courantes. Celui-là, ça s'est joué plus rapidement.
Ouais, je me demande si Houston avait hâte de prendre l'avion et retourner à Houston parce qu'ils étaient à New York, à Montréal, mais je sais que demain, ils jouent à Houston. Alors, mais quand un lanceur lance des prises, on frappe la première balle. On a toujours hâte, surtout un lanceur de balle rapide comme Yeomans. On tente de frapper la balle le plus solidement possible.
Maintenant, brièvement, peut-être en 30 secondes, c'est fini avec Houston, qui est un adversaire coriace, ceux qui s'en viennent.
Les Reds viennent tout juste de battre les Mets de New York 3 fois. Alors, ils seront sûrement gonflés à bloc, mais il faudra les surveiller parce qu'ils ont des gars qui sont capables de frapper la balle. Les lanceurs laissent peut-être à désirer cette année.
Et malgré tout, c'est une équipe qui est imprévisible, qui peut connaître de très hauts moments et un peu plus bas.
Exactement.
Merci Claude Raymond, on se retrouve très bientôt. Eh bien, je vous rappelle encore une fois que le joueur labatte du match est Floyd Yeomans et que notre prochain reportage, ce sont les Reds de Cincinnati et les Expos de Montréal qui se font face. Le match à la télévision, donc le 12 juillet, le samedi 12 juillet à 19h30 heure avancée de l'Est, en direct du stade du Parc olympique. Au nom de Claude Raymond, Serge Arsenault et c'est Raymond Lebrun qui vous rappelle la marque finale du match de ce soir. Les Expos qui l'emportent 2-1. Bonne fin de soirée, mesdames, messieurs, en direct du stade du Parc olympique à Montréal.
By the way, that byplay in the New York Met dugout took place during a Met victory over the Expos, the only game that they won in the recent three-game series at Shea Stadium. You know, throughout the lengthy baseball season, one of the things that can really determine the outcome of a ball game is the placement of the players, exactly where the manager, or in some cases the coaches, shift the outfielders, the infielders, what have you, the way they align the defense for various baseball situations. Well, we've got a few examples of players being in the right place, but at the wrong time. Let's watch.
I've been in the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. I done said the right thing, but it must have used the wrong line. I've been on the right trail, but I must have used the wrong car. Head is in a bad place, and I wonder what's good for. I've been in the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. My head is in a bad place, but I'm having such a good time. Slipping, dodging, sneaking, peeping, hiding out down the street. See my life shaking with every who I meet. Refract confusion as I'm making itself clear. Wonder which way I go to get on out of here. 'Cause I've been in the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. And I done said the right thing, but I must have used the wrong line. I took the right road, but I must have took a wrong joint. I took a right move, but I made it at the wrong time. I went in the right trail, but I made it in the wrong call. Head is in a good place, and I wonder what's there.
Well, that's what I mean. Sometimes you're at the right place, but at the wrong time. Here at Olympic Stadium tonight, the Expos beat the Houston Astros 2-1 to salvage a game out of this three-game series. The Expos coming off that successful weekend that we talked about against the Atlanta Braves. They had a big run explosion there, scored 35 runs in the four-game series against Atlanta, taking the last three games of that series, then came in here, got only one run last night, one run on the first night of the Houston series. Two were enough to beat the Astros tonight because of the pitching of Floyd Yeomans, of course. And also, one of those runs was provided by the Hawk. The Expos right fielder opened up the scoring, producing a run in the first inning with a home run off Bob Nepper. Andre Dawson will guest with us on the post-game show. Let's go down to the Expos dugout, and here's Duke.
Hey, Dave and Andre, congratulations on that home run. That was a big number for a while, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Swung the bat fairly well against Bob Nepper, and 3-2, you're not thinking home run. You hope to get a pitch out over the plate, a ball that you can hit hard, try to be selective, and he just hung a slider, I think, and he got on the sweet part of my bat.
Andre, there have been three pitchers in this series that have really impressed me. Nolan Ryan looked like vintage Ryan last night, Mike Scott the night before, and Floyd Yeomans tonight, so there was a lot of heat out there.
Well, I can't say enough about Floyd. Over the last month, he's gained confidence. He's worked on his control. He's throwing strikes, and when he's around the plate, he's going to be just that much tougher. I think he only walked a couple of batters tonight, and we were fortunate that he was throwing the ball as hard as he was. And, when he has that confidence and he knows he can throw the ball by the batters, he just rears back and let it go.
What about Andre Dawson? I know you've got to be feeling good now.
Well, I feel a lot better. I'm starting to gain my rhythm. My bat speed has slowed down a little bit. I started out a little bit too quick, and trying to, not think about the games that I've missed. When you try and make up for those games, you get into the bad habits, and I just try to stay within myself and just let the game come to me.
A couple more left-handers going in the next couple of games. You got a Chris Welsh, your former teammate, and then Joe Price pitching for Cincinnati, so a couple of guys that aren't overpowering, same type as Nepper.
Yeah, that's true. We're not, really concerned about who's pitching. We got 3 games left before the All-Star break, and we like to say we want to sweep them, but if we can win 2 out of 3, it's a good feeling going into the All-Star break.
Okay, Andre, good luck to you.
Okay, thank you, Duke.
All right, Duke, talking with Andre Dawson, who hit that home run, the 82nd home run of the season for the Expos. And on this day, they still lead the National League in hitting the long ball, the home run ball. And certainly you have to realize and believe that that home run also helped relax Floyd Yeomans a little bit. Floyd Yeoman's the guest with us now. Let's go back down to the Expos dugout and visit with the winning pitcher tonight.
Okay, Dave, and a lot of pluses for Floyd Yeoman's tonight, but first of all, nice hitting.
Yeah, I was trying to get a hit to keep my hitting streak going. I got a 4-game hitting streak so far now.
Yeah, but you've got a 5-game winning streak, Floyd, and out on that mound, that's even more important.
Yeah, I got a 5-game winning streak, and I was thinking about it when I was going out there tonight, and when I came out of bullpen, I felt I was going to have a great game because down in the bullpen, I had a good slider, and, you know, I really was trying to get the first pitch strike, and when I got a first pitch strike tonight, I was making them swing at my pitch, and I was really effective.
Floyd, I think since they've taken your curveball away from you, you've gotten your rhythm down now, and you're challenging hitters, throwing more quality strikes. You've got the 90-plus mile-an-hour fastball, but that changeup to me tonight in certain situations was awesome.
Yeah, it did help me in certain situations because these guys knew I wasn't throwing a breaking ball. You know, I was throwing a fastball, slider, both hard pitches, and then when I got the changeup over, you know, it was like, you know, they put a little different thing in their mind, so they didn't know to look for changeup or slider, and then the fastball like, boom, right by them.
How about the fastball that runs away from a left-handed batter? That was very effective, too, tonight.
Yeah, it was just, I was just throwing it on the outer half of the plate, and it was just rising outside, and what was really helping me, it was going at that pitch, and it really helped me a lot. I got like 3 strikeouts like that.
Floyd, you got the second half to go, and you're getting in a groove. We might see some great things out of you in the next half.
Yeah, I'm just, like I said, I'm concentrating, and I'm trying to go out every time to cut down base on balls, and because in the past it's shown when I don't have the base on balls, I'm doing great out there.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, Don.
Okay, David.
All right, thanks, Duke, for the visit with tonight's winning pitcher, Floyd Yeomans. He pitched a complete game 2-1 victory over the Houston Astros. We'll take a look at the highlights on tonight's game now. Let's go back to the very start of the game. Andre Dawson batting in the first inning. 2 are out. Bob Nepper on the mound for Houston, and Hawk lofts one high into the air to left field. Home run number 14, RBI number 30, his 3rd home run of the year against Bob Nepper. Earlier in a game here, he had hit a couple of home runs against Nepper, connected to open up the scoring in tonight's game. So Andre Dawson puts the ball club and Floyd Yeomans on the scoreboard. Then we move on to the 3rd inning of the game. Hubie Brooks batting, and Floyd Yeomans will score the run. Hubie with his 2nd hit of the night. This a 2-out single that scored Floyd Yeomans, and that gave the Expos a 2-0 lead in the game. The Astros got on the scoreboard in the 4th inning, and of course, as things turned out, it's the only run they would get. Denny Walling batting with Bill Doran at 3rd base. Doran tagged up on the play. Here's the throw by Mitch Webster. Doran comes on to score, and it's a 2-1 game. That's the way things went. Now, the Astros had a chance in the 8th inning. This is Louis Meadows batting with a runner at 2nd base. Tim Wallach saves the run from scoring, takes an extra base hit away from Meadows, who winds up with an infield hit. Runners are still at 1st and 2nd, but Floyd struck out Doran and Gainey to get out of it. Then here's the final out of the game. He gets one right on the outside corner in pitching to Jose Cruz, and the Astros go in the 9th inning. With 2 outs, he had walked a batter, and that was Kevin Bass. But then he got Cruz looking at strike 3 with a tying run on base. And, of course, that's the way it ended. The 11th strikeout of the night for Floyd and a 2-1 victory. All right, so the Expos with a win for Floyd Yeomans, his 9th, 9-5 now overall. Bob Nepper in his 6th attempt at winning number 11 failed, although he did his job. And Nepper is now 10-7. And you have to feel he'll still be a strong contender for the National League All-Star team. A 2-1 win for the Expos here tonight. Our post-game show is going to continue now. We've got a feature on a player who just recently became a member of the Giants. Our tale of the silent but deadly pitcher begins with St. Louis in 1965 when Steve Carlton arrived in the majors. 4 years later against the Mets, he delivered the first of his considerable feats, becoming the first pitcher in history to strike out 19 batters in a game, a record he still holds for a left-hander. In 1972, Lefty was traded to the Phillies, a move at first scorned by Philly fans, but Carlton quickly changed their minds. In his first season with the last-place Phils, he won 15 straight en route to a Cy Young Award and 27 wins, almost half the team's total. 2 disappointing seasons followed, but then in an 8-year stretch, Lefty won more games than any other pitcher in the major leagues.
Steve Carlton's fastball was never his best pitch. His slider was his best pitch once he developed it. And that's what really made him a dominating pitcher, especially the decade from 72 through 1982.
Armed with his formidable slider, Lefty collected 3 more Cy Young awards, giving him more than any other pitcher in history. And as the wins piled up, so did the strikeouts.
Here it comes again, the pitch to Wop. He struck him out, there it is!
Career strikeout number 3,000. 2 years later, in May 1983, Lefty passed Walter Johnson for second place on the all-time list, en route to leading the league in strikeouts for the 5th time. 3 weeks later, against his old team, the Cardinals, Lefty toppled the King.
Struck him out. Number 3,522 for Steve Carlton. He has surpassed Nolan Ryan as the all-time Major League strikeout king.
That same season, on September 23rd, with help in relief, Lefty victimized his former Cardinal team in another milestone.
Struck him out. Ball game is over. Phillies win it 6-2. Steve Carlton winning his 300th Major League game. What a pleasure it has been to watch him pitch over the years since joining the Phillies in 1972. Thanks, big left-hander. Giving all of us a lot of thrills.
Steve Carlton's Philadelphia story remains a classic, for no other pitcher in team history has won more games or struck out more batters than the great Lefty. Steve Carlton, of course, now a member of the San Francisco Giants. In his first start with San Francisco, he had to be lifted in the ball game, but the Giants took him off the hook. He didn't take a loss, so he's still looking for his first San Francisco victory. In some of the games going on tonight at Fenway Park in Boston, they're into the 5th inning, and the Red Sox are leading the A's 6-5 now. Meanwhile, over in Toronto, Seattle and the Blue Jays are tied up at 3-3, and that's a wild one. Not only has Mariners manager Dick Williams been thrown out of the game, but third base coach Ozzie Virgil has been thrown out of the game as well. So they continue in that one, and it's Mike Moore against Dave Steed. Right now, we're going to join my good friend Tim McCarver and feature on one of this game's great players, in fact, the all-time top home run hitter, Henry Aaron.